honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Karen.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
All I'm offering is the truth. Groovy.
Leon's getting larger.
Geez, you're real nice. If I didn't have puke breath, I'd kiss you.
Would you classify that as a launch problem or a design problem?
All right, getting set up. Gotta shut the door so I don't bother everybody in the house with my freaking out and screaming. All right, as we start the show. Thanks, Natalie. It was good to see you. Here we go. Woof. Here I am. I'm a little fuzzy today, I gotta say. Mostly hair-wise, I mean. Hi, Terry. Nice to see you in Black Mountain, North Carolina. Good people down there in North Carolina. Hi, Lisa Mia Moore. Contrary to popular belief that somehow all rednecks or Southerners are Republicans, you know, it's not at all the case. The friendly, quiet ones are all Democrats. The loud, weird ones that everybody goes, oh shit, Dave wants to sleep on my couch again. That guy, Dave, he's definitely a Trumpster. He's definitely a MAGA supporter. Hi, everybody. And right out of the gate, I want to thank you guys for showing up today. This might be a longish one. Thanks so much. Right out of the gate. Thank you, Lisa Mia Moore. Bless you. So this one might be longish just because, so after the Chris Wallace interview, Trump has a strategy, all right? Trump has a strategy, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but the strategy is, if you say something stupid, say a lot of other shit really quick, and hopefully it will bury it in, like, it will bury the turd in barf. So you'll be, the turd being worse than the barf in theory, people will go, wasn't there a piece of didn't a piece of shit actually come out of his mouth? Like, no, he just threw up. Now, I'm pretty sure that was an actual turd that came along with it. It's a gross analogy, I apologize. But it's just, it goes with this Steve Bannon idea of flood the zone with shit, which is their plan or whatever. So Trump does this Chris Wallace nightmare yesterday, where he claims that, that Chris Wallace, a grown man with a job, would have a hard time with the last 5 questions on that intelligence test he somehow thinks he aced when he got a 93 on it. And the last 5 tests are, what day is it? What's the month? What's today's date? What city are you in? And is your diaper full? I think was the last one. And you have to really think about, beyond the fact that this is just a cognitive test that they give you in the hospital after you've been hit with a rubber mallet to see if your marbles are all still in your head. And he thinks it's an intelligence test. The danger and the weirdness of that in general. And then you also have to really wrap your head around the idea that he thinks it's something to brag about. I mean, I'm still dealing with the idea that he thinks he deserves a pat on the back for elephant, camel, kangaroo, killed it, you know, that he so wants this to be a win, right? And so that's bad enough. But his response to, to everyone recognizing that failure yesterday and being embarrassed at him and for him across the board, Republicans everywhere just basically running for cover, trying to figure out how to hide from this until something worse eats it in the news cycle. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. And by the way, thanks to our trolls, maggots, and Trumpsters who show up and puff our numbers every day. Remember, the algorithm doesn't care whether you like me or not, and the chat room knows better than to take you seriously. So good luck and bye-bye. And also to the people on Facebook who seem to come by more than any other group and go, who do you think you are? You're on my page. Apparently you think I'm worth yelling at. All right, so spectacular. Anyways, good luck following this maniac into hell. So anyways, in the course of this, Trump, he thought this was a big win. He thought, you have to understand, the Chris Wallace interview, Trump thought he aced that too. Really, think about this. Trump thought that he came away from the Wallace interview like just spiking the ball. And then he was shocked that everybody went, holy shit, this guy thinks that knowing what a kangaroo is unprompted is a sign of superior intelligence, not, okay, I think his shoes are facing the right way on his feet. Oh, thank you, Raphael. I'm glad you liked Ruth Bader Gordon at the Sexy Liberal Show. And thank you guys for showing up. It was so fun. It was so fun to do. And I'm looking forward to the next one. So that said, today, Trump is dealing with the aftermath of this and decides to prove what a massive grasp he has on the situation at hand. And today's Monday, July 20th, 2020. Oh, 7/20/2020. Look out. It's also Moon Day. Happy Moon Day. It's the anniversary of us landing on the moon. Yeah, and we really did, by the way. Yeah, we went to the moon. There was a lot of people involved in that. They worked very hard. They made it happen. It actually occurred. If you even toy with the idea that the moon landing was faked, I would go to the nearest physician, even if it's a podiatrist, and have them like look in your ear and see if their little light shines out the other side. That's what I would say. Give us a like and a thumbs up, and thanks for hanging out. But this is Trump's response. And by the way, still got the same look on his face from yesterday. If you recall, Trump had this same look on his face talking to Chris Wallace all day yesterday. Yeah, it's amazing when you watch Dumb and Dumber and you're like, that might be a documentary. We landed on the moon. Yeah. Some people are just finding out, and it's okay. Welcome aboard. Right on, Orlando. I recommend very highly watching Lab Rats. It's a good show. So this is him. He's going to bring us in he also jumped into the task force briefing. I don't think he stayed for the whole thing. I hope not on the task force briefing, because I don't want us to have to do the whole thing today. But he wanted to show everybody the task force meeting that happens before the briefing to show the real work that's being done. Yeah, let's see it.
Okay, well, thank you very much. You've asked to see what's going on at our meetings. I figured let you come in.
No, we haven't asked to see what's going on in the meeting. We've looked at the results and going, what the hell is going on in those meetings? How could they get less done?
You'll look and you'll see we have a lot of good things happening. We have tremendous progress on vaccines and therapeutics.
Okay, yeah, the task force is not in charge of vaccines and therapeutics. Science is doing that. Right now, there's a lot of positive movement in there, by the way, guys. Most of it from the UK, interestingly enough, but not bad, not bad. Hey, Boston Children's Hospital, in conjunction with the NHS in England, has come up with a possible treatment where they spritz a certain protein up your nose. One that they discovered helps with MS, but they can't find a way to keep it in your system long term for MS sufferers because it's an ongoing disease. Might work perfectly to mute the cytokine storms, the overt immune response that's killing a lot of people temporarily, so that you can get over what would be a temporary infection. That in of itself is a huge step forward in all infectious diseases where the immune response is killing people. And this comes from MS research. So to all my rock friends who performed at and helped me host Rock Against MS, I love you and thank you for drawing attention to that issue. And that includes Bill Burr, who played drums on an AC/DC song with us. Good stuff. But because of the MS studies that they've been doing at Boston Children's Hospital, that protein it basically blunts that immune response, is great in this situation. They've tried it. It's a very small sample. It's got a little ways to go, but that's a conjunction. And by the way, that's something that's been going on because medical science didn't just start in 2017 on January 19th, according to Donald Trump. It's been going on forever, and people are always trying to improve people's lives. This happened, because of that. This is a repurposing. But anyways, that's not what the task force is doing. They're not funding any of that. That just happened.
We're getting reports. We're studying the reports very closely. I think people.
Oh, yeah. Do you have reports on the desk? Are there reports around there? Are we going to show pictures of you studying the reports?
We're going to be very pleasantly surprised with what's going on the vaccine front and the therapeutic front.
No, we're not. We're aware that it takes time to see if it has efficacy, if it lasts. One of the things, by the way, about these vaccines is they talk about whether it will have a lasting immunological effect. If you can blunt it within a country and slow the spread long enough, then you can tamp down the infection, because people will have temporary immunity, and it's the equivalent of making everyone's immune system wear a mask for 3 months. Even at a short point, even if it doesn't work for a long-term thing like a flu vaccine, which we have to re-up every year, even in that it's basically going to work like that it gets you through that cycle. And unlike the flu, this won't pop up on its own if there's a point to, yeah. Right, yeah.
And that to us is always the first topic. Secondarily, but very importantly, we're working and negotiating with the Democrats on trying to get a plan that helps small businesses, helps people, helps this country. And I think we've made a lot of progress on that, and the discussions are going on. Steve, you want to say a few words as to where we're at?
Oh, Steve Mnuchin.
President, Mark and I have been working very hard over the last 2 weeks with Mitch and Kevin on really what we see as the focus is kids and jobs. The Recovery Act, CARES 4.0.
I did just get a haircut just to prove that it is safe. There's a lot of money in haircuts, and I'm not the chicken plucker. I'm the chicken plucker sons, and I've been plucking chicken since chicken plucking's done. I'm sorry.
We've spent an unprecedented amount of money. The good news is a lot of the $3 trillion we still have left to put in the economy and put back.
You mean, well, what we mean by it, we still got it to put out, is that we gave it to some of my friends, and they got caught, and we had to give it back.
To work. We're focused on starting with another $1 trillion. We think that will make a big impact. And the focus is, as I said, is really about kids and jobs. And
oh no, we're going to put kids back to work. We think the biggest drag on the employment figures is the fact that there are child labor laws. So we're going to try and
vaccines. We're going to make sure that we have a vaccine by the end of the year for emergency use. And the plan is...
because we don't consider this an emergency, just in case.
We just updated the president and the vice president. They signed off on this. Mark and I will be meeting tomorrow with the Republicans at the lunch to give them a full brief.
We're going to have a nice piece of chicken cutlet, and they have the Senate cafeteria has a great COVID soup that Rand Paul makes.
And then we will also be reaching out to the Democrats.
By the way, I tried to wear a bigger watch to show off my wealth, but my trophy wife said that would be a dick move.
To begin our discussions, but we are committed.
Who are you looking at, Mike Pence?
That by the end of this month, make sure that before the enhanced unemployment insurance expires, that we pass legislation so that we can protect Americans that are unemployed. Now, we've said the number one issue is we have to fix the technical fix on enhanced unemployment. We're going to make sure that we don't pay people more money to stay home than go to work. We want to make sure that people who can go to work safely can do so. We'll have...
Yes, every time I do the Mnuchin impersonation, I do lay an egg. But I'd stop doing the Mnuchin thing, but everybody in the house likes omelets.
Tax credits that incentivize businesses to bring people back to work. We'll have tax credits for PP&E, for safe work environment, and we're going to have big...
So what I mean by that is that everyone in this room will be getting PPE payments.
Incentives, money...
This is not a safe work environment.
The states for education, for schools that can open safely and do education. So these are the priorities, as well as liability protection. We want to make sure that frivolous lawsuits don't prevent schools, universities, and businesses from...
Because we recognize that's what everyone's biggest worry is right now, is that people will be suing restaurants because they caught COVID at a place they chose to go without wearing a mask.
Reopening.
Because that's what our opinion of the American people. Have you seen the garbage human beings that are out on the street? I mean, honestly, it's so frightening. I mean, if I didn't live in a mountain fortress built by the Ayn Rand Institute, I wouldn't.
Okay, Mike?
Well, Mr. President, I just want to
first of all start by thanking you for letting me play. Is that your folder on the floor, or are you ready for happy business?
how much we appreciate
you, and look at this. Oh God, even Trump isn't. But is he pooping? Is that how he gets pleasure in life? Is he just takes a dump as Mike Pence? Look at this. Look at the look on his face. Oh.
The leadership in the House and Senate. Today's conversation is a continuation of your...
We've been doing of your great work. Like you said before, slow the testing. Stop all of this.
To do whatever it takes to get the American people, American businesses, and communities through this very challenging time. The outbreaks across the Sun Belt are serious, but because of the support that we've had from, frankly, leaders in both political parties in the Congress of the United States, we're meeting this moment with expanded testing, personal protective equipment, and as you said, Mr. President, with the development and distribution of therapeutics and a rapid development of vaccines. That will all...
Oh, yeah. Again, I'm so looking forward to the Republicans lining up behind military trucks to get their shot.
Continue, but it's important that the Congress come together and provide additional resources for families that have been impacted, businesses that have been impacted, We'll make sure our healthcare workers in our states have the resources that they need.
They need more healthcare workers in a bunch of those states.
But also, Mr. President, we're going to continue to advance policies that'll make it possible for us to open up America again and open up America's schools. And I look forward, I know as you do, in working with the leaders that are gathered here and members of Congress in both political.
Put some reports on my desk so it looks like I was reading, but don't leave them open because people think I didn't finish them. Matter of fact, put all the reports on my desk upside down. No, they'll think, watch, the fake press will say that he just used them as props and they didn't even put them there right. Wait, are these upside down or right side up?
Parties to deliver another important element of a recovery package that will keep on working until we bring our country all the way.
We heal our land. And I got that glory, 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 hold in my soul.
Back and reach that day that we someday put this coronavirus in the past.
Okay.
Okay, you said your piece. Say the other piece.
Mitch, please.
So this is, oh, Mitch McConnell, look at that. Excuse me, tan suit. Tan suit. Really? Tan suit. Did he borrow it from Obama? Is it just this level of trolling now? Really?
Yeah, tomorrow begins the process of
Where we are going to we mate first, and then our eggs lay in the beach for several weeks, and then there's a big scary period where the eggs break open and they try to make it across the beach into the water without the seagulls. I'm sorry, I was talking about
socializing what we've been discussing with the administration over the last 2 weeks.
How much I'm going to open a soda fountain in 1945.
Our members, and if you're looking for a theme here, think liability protection for those.
That's the theme. This is why they're all gathered. This is all. This is the whole. This Mitch just said the quiet part loud. They blew it. This isn't a meeting about how to stop the spread or take out the embers in the flamey places and all that. It's about liability so that they can force businesses open, and then they've got liability insurance because they're not one-to-one on the businesses, and the governors are not going to have it. So people are going to sue the business because the business didn't take precautions or didn't clean the place, or the staff wasn't wearing masks, or somebody in the kitchen didn't wear a mask. So they're just going to, if they catch it, they're just going to go, I got it from that place where they weren't wearing a mask, or somebody walked in and didn't wear a mask and they didn't throw them out, or where the fight broke out over masks and I caught it there and I'm going to sue that chain restaurant. Because it's not about the local one, mom and pops. This is also people don't sue Cracker Barrel.
Been trying to deal with the pandemic. We don't need an epidemic of lawsuits on the heels of the pandemic.
Yeah, that's what the problem is. An epidemic of lawsuits. That's our big fear right now. We're all so concerned that lawsuits will just flood the zone.
Struggling with kids in school, jobs, and healthcare would be the
kids in school, jobs, and healthcare. We of course care about jobs the most.
Theme of the proposal that we hope to come together and present to our Republicans. And then, as the Secretary of the Treasury indicated, obviously you can't pass the bill in the Senate without the Democrats, and we'll begin to talk to them as well.
That man is miserable. And you know what? Good. One of the only upsides of this horseshit of these assholes being in charge and doing such a terrible job and pissing away any opportunity for true leadership or hard work is that they have to sit there and understand that they're screwing up and that everyone will hate them. And they're going to carry that. You can just hear the sound of their legacies flushing down the toilet and them knowing it.
Yes, just to sum up what we're looking at.
Mark, you're the chief of staff. Why you're sitting next to the Senate Majority Leader and the Vice President and the Secretary of the Treasury, and you're the Chief of Staff. you're the president's essential secretary. We don't need to hear from you. Unless you're now the Trump whisperer, like he's is. Oh, sorry, it's Kevin McCarthy. I'm sorry, they look so much alike. They have the same hairdo. I'm sorry, I could. That's so embarrassing. I can't tell them apart.
Sitting at home and you're concerned that you don't have
Minority Leader.
a job, we want to make sure you're able to come back. We don't think any federal money should be spent that gives you a disincentive to work. We want to make sure we have incentives
They're identical, is my point.
to keep going. For those small businesses, we want to make sure you can stay open. We want to make sure your kids can go back to school, but go back safely, not just for the children, but for the teachers as well.
Yeah, that's our concern.
We continue to make strides to make sure we get to a vaccine, that we find a cure for this virus that we did not invite, that came from a foreign land.
Oh, unlike the other ones who are like, hey, anybody got I just ordered on Amazon a case of syphilis from Sicily. Did you know you could do that? That's incredible.
And I think that's the focus that we have to be a part of. Mitch talks about, and I think it's fundamental, not just for schools, but for any businesses striving, whether they can open back up or not, they should not have an attack from any lawsuits.
That is not the biggest concern here. It just isn't. And you can tell that their fixation on that shows their opinion of their fellow Americans. That's their primary worry. This is yes, that counts as a China virus reference in this meeting. By the way, he goes, we're going to show you today how hard we're working. We're looking at the work and the charts and the tables and the stuff. And 3 out of 4 people who have spoken, their primary focus has been on lawsuits because things are opening too early.
Need to give the protection that we rebuild, restore, and renew this country to where we were before. And
Heal our land is my line.
we can do it together. That's why we're working here. We'll be reaching out to the Democrats, and I hope for that moment in time that they put politics aside.
They've doubled everything you've asked for in entirety throughout this whole process. And it still wasn't enough. You were asking for a quarter of what we needed to solve this problem. He's still holding back billions of dollars that are supposed to go to testing supplies. Why? Why? What is the reason? Like, this would be the main topic of the meeting for me if I was president in this moment, would be like, hey, which one of you assholes thought I wanted us to not spend the money getting testing supplies? We apparently have $13 billion sitting around that was supposed to get testing supplies, and it hasn't been spent. Why is that? Because you told us not to? Oh, right, I'm a maniac.
That we look at one nation, that we don't sit back inside of a rule within a Senate that a minority denies the ability to have this debate, that denies the ability to help America unite and solve this problem once and for all.
Really? Is that what's been going on? It's all been political division on the floor? These bills have passed 98-0. The only holdouts are Rand Paul and somebody opting out. What are you talking about?
Are making great strides when it comes to therapies. What this warp speed, history will
warp speed. Operation Warp Steed.
write about this. When we get to the moment in time that we have this vaccine, they'll write about how fast it would, and no other country could do what we did because
excuse me. The vaccine that we're primed to use is coming from Oxford. There's 2 other multinational pharmaceutical companies that are majority in the United States, but have 6 or 7 labs across the world. And by the way, operate in conjunction with the CDC, the NIH, the NHS, and the World Health Organization.
Continuity of this nation. And that's the focus of what we're trying to do. The safety of this country, for our students, for our teachers, and for our businesses, that we're back to work again, stronger and safer. And
we don't want any 3rd graders suing their teacher because they killed their mom.
United.
It came from China.
Good. This is what happens in the meeting. You guys getting this? This is how I wanted to show you how this goes. First of all, we all sit in a semicircle in old chairs with no desks for our working group. And we all go around and state some sort of mission statement, and then we listen to Trump bitch about China for 10 minutes, and then we all go home and try to do some real work.
Should have never been allowed to get out. They could have stopped.
How do you? It's a contagious disease. So either shit or get off the pot. Either say they sent it as a bioweapon, or shut up.
They could have stopped it easily. They chose not.
They could have stopped it easily. They chose not to. So let's be abundantly clear. Donald Trump thinks that the Chinese government released a bioweapon into the United States, that it is responsible for the death of 140,000+ Americans right now. It will continue to kill Americans for the foreseeable future. But he's still interested in phase 2 of his deal getting signed. He still wants to do a deal with them.
And we'll have further reports on that. But it came from China. They could have.
You're going to have further reports on the fact that that this was an attack, because that's what you're saying. If that's what you're saying, then say it. I mean, it's insane.
Stopped it. They didn't. They stopped it from going into China, but they didn't stop it from going to the rest of the world. It didn't stop it from.
They were in China. They stopped it from going to China. They were in China. They stopped its spread in their own country. That's what every country is trying to do, except ours currently.
Going to Europe, to us, they should have stopped it. They could have stopped it. They weren't.
Why didn't you stop it in Washington State? If they could have stopped it coming into the United States, then why couldn't you have stopped it from spreading from Washington State and New York State to the rest of the country? You could have done it very easily, but they did it on purpose.
Transparent at all. They were the opposite. It's not good.
They weren't transparent at all. They were the opposite. Do we need to go find the clip where he was kissing Xi Jinping's ass about being transparent in March? Remember that?
Spoke with the president of France this morning.
Oh no. Is he okay?
And I spoke with the president of Egypt, and we had a very, very good conversation, both of us, and
3 people involved in that. There's you and the other 2. Did you not have a good conversation with Macron, or which both are you talking about?
All of us together. I've had many conversations with leaders all over the world over the weekend.
And they're so impressed with our testing, they say, "How do you do it?" And then they start snickering, and I think they move away from the phone.
Over the last couple of weeks in particular, and this is a pandemic that is flaring up all over the place.
Yeah, we know.
Countries thought they were.
Entire nations have to do a nationwide approach to tamp it down. If they just leave it up to regional governors, it often spreads to other areas, because the countries, especially within their own borders, are incredibly porous. You can go from state to state without any limitations.
Good shape, and then all of a sudden they have a big flare-up. I see that over the weekend, I guess on Friday, there was a record worldwide number of deaths, worldwide.
And who had the largest number of deaths in that record?
Because when you watch the news, the local news, and you see it, and it's...
And I saw it, yeah. And I was golfing, and even I saw parts of it.
It's like all about the United States. They never like to talk about what's going on in the world. But you look at Mexico, Brazil...
all these countries that don't have near the money or infrastructure or coordination or federal government or interagency cooperation, or aren't even technically on the same scale as the United States. Yeah, Madagascar, Papua New Guinea. Why don't they bring up Papua New Guinea?
Many countries in Europe,
South Africa. I saw us on a list with South Africa and Brazil and the other 5 countries with the worst death tolls.
All over. Russia. Russia's got a tremendous problem.
Did you get permission before you were allowed to say that?
It's what's going on is terrible. It's terrible. But this is a world.
Thanks, David. Good God, man. This is how the meetings go. You wanted to know. Remember, this started with him going, you wanted to see what we do. This is what the meetings are. This is it. Pence kisses his ass. Mnuchin and Mitch McConnell and Mark Meadows, I did it again, and Kevin McCarthy all complain about the fact that there are going to be lawsuits if you open up Cracker Barrel and a bunch of people don't want to do their job. And the who? Wait a minute, which Michael Brooks? Michael Brooks from Majority Report? The hell? Really? Did I see that right?
Worldwide problem.
I'm going to have to check on that.
And we're helping the world with ventilators. We're helping a lot of countries. They don't have ventilators, and we're sending thousands of
Oh my God, we're still on the ventilator things.
ventilators to different countries. But I do want people to understand this is a worldwide problem caused by China, but it's a worldwide problem. Countries are going through hell. And it's going to...
Yes, we know. We're one of them.
We're going to give you a lot of briefings in the next week and over the next few weeks as to, I think it's very important to do it, the vaccines and the therapeutics. I think I'm going to bring some of the great companies that are working and very successfully in the past have worked on these things, and they're going to tell you...
And they're going to tell you which ones we've secretly bought stock in over the last couple of weeks before we allowed them to have a huge dump of money.
Very specifically what they're doing and how they're doing, but we think we're...
From what, guys? What happened to Michael Brooks? I didn't hear anything about this.
Very well in that regard. Those two items, I think, frankly, therapeutic, I like almost better at this point. You go in and you make people better. Now, we have...
I don't care what you like. We want what scientifically works, you asshole.
Some very good luck with remdesivir. That's been successful, and other...
Excuse me, it's pronounced remdesivir. Yeah, you know what country discovered that remdesivir worked? South Korea.
Have been successful. The plasma has been...
Plasma, ew, 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 the plasma. Oh my! Oh, plasma! It's true convalescent plasma. Isn't that wonderful? Ooh, Mater, I'll be in the drawing room playing the grand piano with my plasma. Ooh, plasma. What the shit? Thank you, Yarny's Plate. Did Trump just say something? I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. There's no reason to.
Successful, but we're really coming up with some very good answers, meaning they are all over the world.
Yeah, we're coming up with good answers, meaning they are. That sums up this whole frigging meeting. We're doing great on cures and treatments, and by we, I mean the medical establishment in 20 different countries.
We're working very closely all over the world.
Plasma. Ooh, plasma.
Vaccines and the therapeutics. So we're going to have some of the heads of these great companies coming in. Johnson & Johnson is doing very well in particular.
I enjoy their Q-tips.
They seem to be doing very well, but...
They seem to be doing very well. That's the extent of this is the quality of, yeah, absolutely. Oxford in England is doing great work. And that was what I was pointing out, was that the main vaccine that has the most efficacy so far, and the protein treatment that seems to stop the cytokine storm, was Boston Children's Hospital had this protein that they use for MS, and they started using it in the NHS for some people. And then, of course, there's always plasma. Ew. Oh, plasma. Wonderful. Ew. Ew.
Numerous are doing very well. It's something that I really feel certain.
Who cares what you feel? This is the dumbest thing. I feel like it's going to really work. This isn't... You're not gambling. He's talking like a gambler. You're and asshole. Yeah, okay. Rich, I appreciate you, but you're not making your case, brother. You're, first of all, again, I keep having to tell you guys, it's a Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. Asshole is one word. You should know that. You follow one. A-N. If you're gonna pose, if you're going to be Russian and pose as American, you're going to have to work on your colloquial. It's just, I mean, just study a little. I don't ask a lot.
I guess you can never use totally certain, but pretty damn certain that they're
Pretty damn certain.
going to
That
have
what?
the vaccine, they're going to have therapeutics, and it's going to start taking place very shortly. And that will be a great thing for the world. That will be a great thing. But this is happening all over the world, not just the United States.
What? What?
And it's a tough one. It's very tough. It's very
Oh, now it's tough. I thought it was a hoax.
sad when you see the death. It's all death that could have been
It's all death.
stopped by China.
No, it couldn't have been stopped by China. And if it could have been stopped by China, why wasn't it stopped by you from leaving Washington State? How did it get to California and Oregon and the rest of the country? How did it get to New York all the way from Seattle, Washington? You could have stopped it. You're in charge of this country. You could have stopped it. Why didn't you stop it? If China could have stopped it from coming to our country, you could have stopped it from leaving Tacoma.
If they wanted to stop it, they could have stopped it.
If they wanted to stop it, they could have stopped it. So they didn't want to stop it. So they wanted it to come here. So it was a bioweapon. So they are attacking our country with a bioweapon that was like, whatever, 15 times worse than 9/11. And so your president, during the worst bioweapon attack in the history of America, 140,000 people are dead. And you're still in the process of signing a deal with the country that launched that bioweapon. Now, I don't think there's a bioweapon, and I don't think they meant to do it on purpose. But if you do, why are you still dealing with them?
Okay, thank you very
Why have you not paid back the $300 million that you owe them and divested yourself from China entirely?
much, everybody. Please, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, that's it. So it was a great meeting. Great. Now we all got it's like, gosh, guys, it's like the DVD extras. This is awesome. This is like seeing the mocap in the Avengers. This is what really goes on behind the scenes. 4 people go around the table going, lawsuits are going to wreck Cracker Barrel if we don't do something about it. Mitch, turtles for a moment. Trump bitches about China and how it's not his fault, and then they piss off.
Let's go.
How important,
John,
Mr.
Steve,
President?
let's go. Thank you.
How important is the payroll tax cut?
Press, thank you.
How important is
The what?
payroll tax cut in phase 4?
I think it's very important. I think it's a very important thing. It's very good. It's been proven to
It's a dumb idea.
be successful.
Mitch hates it. No, it hasn't been proven to be successful, and it guts Social Security long term. It's the only reason you want it.
It's a big saving for the people. It's
No, it isn't.
a tremendous saving, and I think it's an incentive for companies to hire their workers back and to keep their workers. So payroll tax cut to me is very important. We're working on it.
Says the guy who's never had shareholders and never had any employees.
And I don't think there's too much dispute
That he wasn't related to or sleeping with.
to
Or both. I'm sorry.
the level of importance, John. It's a very important thing, okay? It's one of the that's one of many elements we're discussing. We're discussing probably a total of 10 different elements, but
Oh, 10 elements. All right. And one of the elements is the payroll tax cut. What's one of the other
payroll
elements?
tax cut's a very important one.
Nitrogen?
All right. Oh, absolutely. No, I think hopefully we'll get there, but we're talking about a lot of things, not just the payroll tax cut.
No. Payroll tax cut will be a non-starter. It'll never get through the House.
The coronavirus briefings, do I understand you correctly?
Well, we had very successful briefings. I was doing them, and we had a lot of people watching, record numbers watching. In the history of cable television, there's never been anything.
Yeah. You know what spikes the ratings on local news? Buildings on fire. The Real Housewives gets great ratings. It's not a good sign of the country's mental health.
Like it. and we were doing very well. And I thought it would be sort of automatic, and a lot of positive things were happening. And frankly, a lot of the country is doing well. A lot of people don't say, as you understand. But we have had this big flare-up in Florida, Texas, a couple of...
That everyone saw coming a month ago, and they were saying you can't do what you're planning on doing and not have these giant flare-ups. And you're like, nah, no, we got to open up. We got to get it open. We got it open. I just heard that black people are hit really bad by this, so we got to take advantage of it right now. Let's get this thing open. We can kill off a bunch of the people that we really don't give a crap about. Come on, let's move. Let's move and get rid of all the diabetics and anybody with heart problems. We'll just clear out we'll cull the herd. It's great. Take that, Agenda 21. Take that, UN conspiracy theory. I was able to do it with the stroke of a pen.
The places. So I think what we're going to do is I'll get involved and we'll start doing briefings, whether it's
oh, this is going to be good.
this afternoon or tomorrow.
You were involved before. You recommended disinfectant in the body like Lysol and getting light inside the body, preferably, I guess, with either by cutting open the sternum and using a rib splitter and then just parking people on a veranda, hoping no bugs land in their chest cavity when they're sitting there like Mr. Creosote from Monty Python. All of the lot. And
probably tomorrow, and I'll do briefings. And part of the briefing, I think, much more so than last time, because last time we were nowhere with vaccines or therapeutics.
Yeah, time passes in a linear fashion forward. So when you don't know about something and you work on something, eventually something occurs from that knowing. Like if you take, I don't know, like piano lessons, and you get better at piano over time, you're not better at piano before you started trying to learn piano. No one is surprised by this. Thanks, Halliburton.
And let's say that ended 6 weeks ago. We'll start them again. And I think it's a great way to get information out to the public as to where we are with the vaccines, with the therapeutics, and generally speaking, where we are. And
who said pedophile? Is there? Do we have a Q in here? Yeah, most of them are being fairly lazy. You know, it's pretty sad, but that's a solid one.
So I think
that would be a child eater, I'm guessing. Which, let's see, of the last two presidents, which disappeared over 200 children and was friends with a pedophile? For a long time.
That probably starting tomorrow. I'll do it at 5 o'clock like we were doing. We had a good slot.
Oh, good. All right, I'll clear my...
And a lot of people were watching, and that's a good thing. I think that Kaylee will continue.
No, it's not that we watch. It's what we see that's disturbing.
Hers at 11 o'clock, just like they were.
It's must-see TV. We've brought in somebody who used to program Fox News, and they're just basically going to schedule our briefings like shows. Essentially, Laura Trump's got a 3 o'clock.
And I'll be discussing as I call it, the China virus, the China plague.
Thanks. Good.
I'll be discussing it. And
you know, it's in 189 countries so far, according to your last count, which varies. I understand that. But it's in our country right now, and we're not worried about where it came from anymore. You're like a dude standing between the doctor and the patient in an emergency room going, the bullet came from across the street. The bullet came from across the street. You're like, yeah, dude, and you're actually supposed to be the attending physician. And you're going, oh, the bullet came from across the street. This isn't my fault. I didn't shoot this guy. You're like, yeah, it's your job to fix them once it happens. And also, apparently in my analogy, you would have to be a cop too who ignored the shootings. So there'd be like 3 different roles you were abdicating playing in this process while standing between the patient and actual medical care.
Also be discussing perhaps some other things, but you know, we're doing...
we don't doubt you will be discussing some other things.
Very well in so many different ways, but unfortunately, this is something that's very tough, but we're going to get it solved. And I think we're going to get it solved in numerous ways, but the 2 best would be vaccines and therapeutics. So
As opposed to what? Carpet bombing cities like the end of Outbreak?
We'll be having that.
Mr. President, on Portland and other cities that are experiencing violence, there was a report out this morning that you're considering sending 175 federal troops to these cities to help local law enforcement. Can you fill us in on that?
Well, help.
Depends on what your definition of troops is. I mean, we're
And what your definition of help is.
sending law enforcement. Portland was totally out of control. The Democrats, the liberal Democrats running the place, had no idea what they were doing.
It's funny because those cities, again, are the largest suppliers of federal tax dollars. They have the most ingenuity, the biggest industries. They have big crime, but they also have the most productivity of any city in the country.
They were ripping down for 51 days, ripping down that city, destroying the city, looting it. The level of corruption and what was going on there is...
Wait, corruption? Is Bill Barr in the room? You're not allowed to even say that word around him. He has a fainting attack.
Incredible. And then the governor comes, oh, we don't need any help. How about Chicago? I read...
Yeah, they don't want your kind of help. Rolling up in unmarked vehicles, rent-a-car minivans in unmarked fatigues, snatching people off the street like this is Stalingrad is not America.
The numbers were...
Yeah, and Portland was not being destroyed.
Many people killed over the weekend. We're looking at Chicago, too. We're looking at New York. Look at what's going on. All run by Democrats, all run by very liberal Democrats, all run really by radical left.
Uh-oh, radical left. Yeah, that's Eric Garcetti, such a radical lefty. The mayor of Detroit is a radical. Chicago's mayor is a radical lefty.
But we can't let this
Please.
happen to the cities. New York was up 348%, the crime wave. So the governor has to do something about it. And if the governor's not going to do something about it, we'll do something about it. But what's happening in New York, a place I love New York, and look at what's going on over there. The woman who was shot because she said, could you please not light off firecrackers, and they turned around and shot her 8 times and she died? That's not our civilization. That's not about us. And then the police are afraid to do anything.
No, that is not at all what happened. First of all, horrible situation. But the woman who was shot had 2 run-ins with the same group. The first time she ran, these guys were lighting off fireworks. Because, I looked it up. It took 2 minutes to look this story up. There were some people lighting off fireworks. She confronted them. She scuffled with one of them. There was a fight between her and her boyfriend or husband who was with them. There was kind of a fight back and forth. They ran into their house, and somebody from that group fired a single shot at her as they were going in. She later found the shell casing and the driver's license of the person who shot at her. And she didn't, insofar as I know, take it to the cops. She was threatening to do so. The next 4 nights later, they were out there lighting the fireworks again. She came out and said something. She either mentioned she had the driver's license or something, and a friend of the dude who shot at her the first time, because he wasn't there, chased her down and shot her for basically saying she was going to the cops. It wasn't over the fireworks per se. It was because he was killing somebody who was a witness to a shooting 4 days before. None of them went to the cops. That was the problem. The problem wasn't that the cops were told to stand down. It was because they were told, they didn't involve the police at all. The police didn't go, well, we would go down there, but the mayor won't let us. Get the hell out of here.
I know New York very well. I know the police very well.
And you know nothing.
New York's finest. And the fact is, they're restricted from doing anything. They
weren't restricted in doing anything in this circumstance. There was 0 restrictions. The people involved in that shooting especially didn't go to the cops. The cops can't do anything if you don't report a crime.
Anything.
So what are you planning on doing?
Well, I'm going to do something, that I can tell you.
Yeah, I'm going to send in black cars with guys in fatigues with no markings and snatch them off the street because we're going to make kidnapping great again. How in the hell is the right wing even comfortable with this?
Because we're not going to let New York and Chicago and Philadelphia, Detroit, and Baltimore, and all of these, Oakland is a mess. We're not going to let this happen in our country. All run by liberal Democrats.
More federal law enforcement to some of these cities?
More federal law enforcement, that I can tell you. In Portland, they've done a fantastic job. They've been there 3 days.
And just when the protests and stuff were dying down, they started snatching people off the street, and they've doubled. And it's been horrible, except for the naked lady. Thanks, Richard. And thank you, Yarn J Plays. I think the mind-controlling alien on his head has made him say all this. Yes. I appreciate you being here, Richard. Thanks for stopping by.
And they really have done a fantastic job in a very short period of time. No problem.
No, they haven't. We don't know if those people who got snatched were being charged. We don't even know, as Americans, if they followed procedure, if they identified themselves as the people who read their Miranda rights, if they're being charged as under a terrorism lawsuit. Are we just going to be chucking people that we snatch off the street into Guantanamo at this point?
They grab them, a lot of people in jail. They're leaders. These are anarchists. These are not protesters.
Jim, with your Democrats equals communism, BLM equals biggest Luciferian movement, you're a jackass, okay? And I mean that with love. You're a mess. You have no friends, and you live in some sort of psychological circle jerk, and you need to get some real friends and find an old television show to binge that you enjoy, so you can go to Comic-Con and use the same language you're doing, but about fantasy worlds.
People say protesters. These people are anarchists.
Yeah, those people are anarchists, right? They're not going to vote. They're not liberal. They wouldn't vote for the liberal Democrat running the city. And they have a lot more in line with the sovereign citizen movement, libertarians, and Republicans than they do with Democrats.
These are people that hate our country.
Right. Yeah, they're not Democrats. Democrats plan on voting this fall.
And we're not going to let it go forward. And I'll tell you what, the governor and the mayor and the senators out there, they're afraid of these people. That's the reason they don't want us to help them. They're afraid. I really believe they're actually maybe even physically afraid of these people, because what they're doing is incredible. We didn't just go there. This wasn't like it started right away.
No, we took our time. We waited for a little while until things were starting to normalize and they were getting a handle on it. And then we sent in shock troops.
After 51 days, we said, we can't let that happen anymore. But these are anarchists. And the politicians out there, yes, they're weak, but they're afraid of these people. They're actually afraid of these people. And that's why.
No, they're afraid of violating the rights of Americans. You seem to think that the rights in the Constitution only apply to the people that you like or that support you.
They say, we don't want the.
Here, you want to send in some help? Send in logistical help and back up the state and local police who are doing the actual arrests. Send funding to them so that they can process all these folks. Use a federal bench to process people, to take some of the weight off the legal system in the state because they financially can't handle it.
Federal government helping. How about Chicago? Would you say they need help after this weekend? Do you know the numbers? Did you hear the numbers? Many, many shot, many, many killed.
Mm-hmm. Do you know the numbers of dead Americans because of COVID?
Many. I'm not talking about 1, 2, was it 18 people killed? I think more than that. And you added up over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
This is worse than Afghanistan, by far.
No, it isn't. First of all, in Afghanistan, they have 60 cases of COVID and they did 148 tests, which doesn't mean that they have 60 cases of COVID and they did 148 tests. It means they're basically a failed state. So I'm going to go with the place of like honor killings and girls getting shot for going to school isn't necessarily going to have proper violence stats and arrest records. But secondly, it's not worse. And thirdly, Chicago has a population of somewhere upwards of 3.5 million people.
This is worse than anything anyone's ever seen. All run by the same liberal Democrats. And you know what? If Biden got in, that would be true for the country.
By the way, if you guys want to duck out and watch Joy Reid's show, I completely understand. We love you, Joy. And you guys can jump back in this later.
The whole country would go to hell, and we're not going to let it go to hell. Thank you very much, everybody.
That's how the meeting goes. We're not going to let it go to hell. He's talking about the war in Afghanistan? No, he isn't. He's talking about Afghanistan currently, Bradley. He's talking specifically about the murder rate in Afghanistan. He said it before. This is something he goes to all the time, Bradley. He's talking about the war. Let's go. Okay, here we go. He's going to wander in.
Coronavirus task force, they have made their way into the briefing room, so that's a good sign that we
Given, is this dude talking when the door opens? No.
Thank you very much. I'd like to begin by saying that we're continuing to negotiate with the Democrats to get our great workers and small businesses all over the country taken care of. I think we're getting close to a deal. Could happen.
Yeah, you kind of need to. The money runs out in a week.
Happen. A lot of good work has been going on, and we could have.
Yeah, and he said this today. He said that, and then he went straight out today.
Answer tomorrow, and we're going to see what exactly does take place. We're also looking at helping our hospitals and our rural hospitals who have been hurt very badly. The rural hospitals for a long time have not been treated properly. We're looking to help them and beyond. So we're looking at hospitals also as part of the package. And we'll see how that all comes out. But a lot of good things are happening.
He got a new coat of orange before he came out, though, in between the last meeting and this one.
Very good negotiations. Just got off the phone with the Secretary of the Treasury, and we have some very good negotiations going on right now. And I think you could have a nice answer tomorrow, but we'll see. America continues to make steady progress in our war against the virus. As of today, we've tested 4.18 million Americans. That's
yeah, and was it Renfield from the CDC was saying the problem they have is that people are getting tested 7, 8, 10 times, especially people who are in the government or in medical facilities, whatever. So even that number is jacked up.
Anywhere in the world.
You have not tested that many separate individuals.
Well, the United States has now conducted more total tests than all of the following nations combined: France, the United Kingdom, South Korea, Japan, Singapore, India, Austria, Australia, Sweden, and Canada. And our testing is expanding very rapidly.
Yeah, if you take out India, all those countries have the same, like combined, have about our population. And they've been track and tracing and limiting their exposure. And secondly, India, there is no real numbers from there. The country has 1.3 billion people in it.
By millions and millions of people. So we've done more testing than all of these countries combined: France, United Kingdom, South Korea, Japan, Singapore, India, Austria, and Australia, Sweden, and Canada.
Sweden and Canada.
That's something, right?
Yeah. Austria and Australia. Don't put those close together again. He gets very confused.
We're doing a great job. This team is an incredible team. And that includes Army Corps of Engineers, a lot of our military people, our admirals, our generals. One of our great admirals here has done an incredible job. You haven't slept too much in the last 2 months.
Oh, the old "we haven't slept and we're working 24 hours a day" story.
Look at him. But
he looks exhausted. He looks like shit.
Somebody said to me, "President, you look tired." I said, "I should be tired. We should all be tired, but we have to win, right?"
We should all be tired, but we have to win.
Tomorrow, the vice president will lead a call with our nation's governors from FEMA headquarters.
Yeah, they do that all the time.
To review what more they can do and do together to develop locally tailored testing strategies. Working very hard with governors now on testing. We want to help them out. Before the call, we'll send them a full list of all of the large laboratory machines in the states. They have a lot of machinery in the states that some aren't that aware of, but they're there and they're really high quality machines.
This is the same briefing we had a month and a half ago. Did they? I'm not kidding. Remember the whole thing about they have all these facilities they don't even know they have? Remember that? Am I losing my mind here? Have I gone completely mad? This is exactly the same thing. This is the same shit he was saying 6 weeks ago.
By the way, and the potential capacity of those machines, if they're fully utilized, a couple of them didn't know that they could be utilized in a different manner. They were only up to 10%, and they can go 90% more. Many governors are still relying on their state laboratories rather than the full and much larger capacity that is available to them. As an example, commercial laboratories such as Quest and LabCorp.
Yeah, this is the same one, and they don't rely on them. What are you talking about? They have to pay a premium to use those. And those tests, I got my test at Quest. You pay for it out of pocket.
Massive laboratories that can handle a lot more than they're being sent. A few days ago it was at 30%. They're only at 30% capacity now. I don't know.
A bunch of them don't have swabs and reagents. That's why they're at the limited capacity.
The same, but they have a lot of capacity. In addition, academic laboratories, big research labs.
Yeah, everybody at schools and universities that do healthcare. Stop in the middle of your Alzheimer's, your cancer, your influenza, your regular clinical trials on Ebola, every other disease. Just stop what you're doing, put all that shit on pause, and let the states commandeer your desktop for a while, because this asshole thinks it's the governor's responsibility.
There's tremendous capacity out there. And some of them want the fast, the instant Abbott machine, which just came.
Is, by the way, a piece of shit, apparently, because you could flip a coin and be just as right. It has a 50-50 false positive.
Due to the research during this little short period of time, and it's very quick. But these labs can do it very quickly also, and they're massive. They can handle much more than the small machine can handle.
Yeah, because it's one at a time, and you have to wait 15 minutes for it to finish, and before you can do the next person. Whereas there's high capacity, but it takes days because you're swabbing and sending them all in one big machine at once, and it reads all the tubes, and it tells which one has COVID, and then you've got a barcode on them, and that barcode corresponds to a patient, and that patient gets a little notification that they're positive or negative, and it's still not 100%.
We continue to procure millions of swabs. Test collectors. I have something here.
He brought a swab. This is the same. This is a rerun. Wait, I have to check. Is this from today? Yeah. Oh, thank God. This is not the one from today. Oh, thank God. I thought we were going to have to watch this whole stupid thing. No, we're not. Oh my God, what is that? That's a picture of Cenk. All right, good. There isn't one today. I was like jumping back in. I'm like, I've seen this before. Is this today? No, that's 3 months ago. Today. All right, we'll find it. Hold on. That's hilarious. It was a rerun. I'm not doing. Yeah. Okay. Trump cash for there 3 months. There we go. Today. Hold on. Oh, it just says Trump briefings to resume. Live Trump 5 p.m. Eastern. That's what it says. Oh, it's launched for tomorrow, you rats. All right, we'll do it tomorrow. Thank God. Okay, well, I'm going to... I am doing it live. Thank you. Thank you for watching. This is so ridiculous. It was like Groundhog Day. It was terrible. That's the funny thing is that he's going to do... Yeah, it's the same details. Hold on. Okay, so... Well, that's good. We can kind of relax today because we don't end up having those. Your sparks are not effective. No, it is not. Good stuff. Everything ends up washed, rinse, repeat. Okay, task force. There it is. Live stream. So this is the first one. And by the way, that wasn't the last one even. Well, either way, still same problems. If you'll notice... He was talking. This is the reason why I thought that was the legit one, because we just did this thing, and he's talking about PPE in this one. Here it is. He's talking about PPE in this segment.
I spoke with the president of Egypt, and we going on in the world. But you look at Mexico, Brazil, many countries in Europe, all over. Russia. Russia's got a tremendous problem.
Why is he looking right down the barrel in this? Honest to God. Why is he looking straight down the barrel? Like, I know I am, because I'm trying to talk directly to you and stuff. But most of the time, I'm looking at the stuff that I'm reading or watching the video that plays on another monitor. But this is like a poor man's Oval Office address.
It's what's going on is terrible. It's the therapeutic. So we're going to have some of the heads of these great companies coming in.
Yeah, so this was the pharmaceutical part.
We're really coming up with some very good answers, meaning they are. All over the world, they're working, and we're working very closely all over the world on the vaccines and the therapeutics. So we're going to have some of the heads of these great companies coming in. Johnson & Johnson is doing very well, in particular. They seem to be doing very well, but numerous are doing very well.
This is, by the way, those of you, and I haven't even touched on this, wait till you see this. So I didn't even have time to start in on these things. But there was, so Trump has been doing these virtual rallies himself on the phone. Where is it? Hold on, let me find it'll have to be on their YouTube page. 1 second. So Trump has been doing, okay, let's see, fact base, there you go. So fact base has been putting up these things. Trump has been doing virtual, like, I guess technically, they're town halls.
Welcome, the 45th president of the United States.
So this is what they've been doing. So Trump's been doing. Remember all this stuff about how Trump doesn't know how to, or Biden doesn't know how to operate a camera and all this stuff. This is what the Trump campaign has been doing. It as his virtual tele-rallies. This is it.
President Donald J. Trump.
I'm not kidding.
Hello, North Carolina, a very special place. We've had some great victories there, and we're going to keep it going. You've had the best years you've ever had over the last 3 years, and we had to close it up for a little while, our country, to save millions of lives, and we've done that. And
it's like a robocall. Honest to God. So Biden does these, live town halls and live like roundtables where he has long form discussions with people about stuff. And this is what Trump is doing.
We're coming back with record job numbers. You've seen that, and it's really going.
And it's him talking on his phone. This is the picture that they're putting up.
Be great. We're going to have a phenomenal year next year. It's all heading that way. But I'm thrilled to talk to you all.
It's all heading that way. Once we get rid of all these dead people, and all we need is a few more refrigerator trucks.
Today about the critical decision facing our country this November 3rd to be exact.
Good. Okay. I didn't want you to think the entire month of November was messed up.
The election is about the very survival of our nation. It's about
Thanks
survival
so much.
Because you see what's going on. You take a look at Portland. This is the people that we're dealing with. And as you know, we sent in some.
Yeah, because the people, the naked yoga woman in Portland is a Biden spokesperson.
Very powerful.
Yeah, this is it. This is the whole thing. This is Trump's. This is called Remarks Donald Trump holds a virtual North Carolina tele-rally.
Enforcement a few days ago and shook it up, and they're doing very well. It's very easy for them, but somebody had to do it. And if they're not going to do it, we're going to have to do it. And that place.
It's like if they're not going to snatch people off the street in disguise and kidnap people without any markings on their clothes, we will.
That includes other places as well. Because the radical left Democrats, which is where our country would go if Biden got elected, because it's not going to be him, it's going to be people that totally control him. They're going radical left, and that's going to be unbelievably bad for our...
You know, he's just got like radical left written in giant Sharpie on his paper.
stock markets and our jobs and everything.
No, not the naked woman on the beach, the naked woman on the street, which, by the way, I didn't see the whole thing. And I'm a decent, upstanding fellow, but did she at least put a blanket down? I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic. The streets are not clean up there.
We'll be in a position just like Venezuela 20 years ago was one of
the Portland is Venezuela right now.
Wealthiest nations in the world, and per capita one of the wealthiest, and now they don't have water, they don't have medicine, they don't even have food. So it's a choice between the law and order and patriotism.
The law and order. You know, get your lawn in order. You want to get a good mower, you want to get an edger, and you want to make sure you're seeding those dry spots.
And prosperity.
The Robin, the naked woman came down and started doing yoga in front of all the cops, and they all left.
Safety offered by our movement, and the anarchy and chaos and crime and socialism. It's pure.
So inspiring, isn't this?
Socialism, and probably beyond socialism. I think
it's socialism plus. Next thing you know, you'll have like fire departments.
Even a step beyond socialism. Promise.
What's the step beyond socialism? Communism? Is that what you want? That's what you're saying?
By the radical left-wing mob in there. A puppet, Joe Biden.
Oh, God. They switched pictures on me. I didn't do that.
Is a puppet. You all know that. You see him. You watch his answers to questions.
And that's an old one. That's from Trump Tower or something.
Doesn't even know what's being asked. I love the great state of North Carolina. I was looking forward to having our Republican National Convention there. That was going to be incredible. But unfortunately, your governor...
I didn't put this on there, Gerald. This is how they posted it.
Cooper decided to give away potentially hundreds of millions.
And by the way, this is him actually talking. What are you talking about?
Millions of dollars. Made it impossible for us to go. We're actually going to spend one day, because I like the state so much. Our first day we're going there. That would be the Monday. And
Trump's campaign put this on.
We're going to have a lot of our delegates there, and we're going to do everything we can. But Roy Cooper said you can't have people meeting in a room. He actually told me the most you can have meeting, we have a 19,000 seat center, as you know, and he said the most you can have is 10 people, because that's what the rules are. 10 people. He actually said that. I don't know. I guess he...
Is there anyone in the room with him? What is this?
He thought he could start negotiating from there, but he didn't really want to.
Excuse me, Candace. It's demonic rats. I'm guessing you mean Democrats. Are satanic demons would be the proper way to say that. Democrats are demonic rats and are satanic demons. We're not, but but if you're going to do it, it is just not proper English. I'm just saying.
Negotiate. He wanted to give it up. So we're going to go there on a Monday, and we're going to then go someplace else. As you know, we're all signed up.
This is a half hour long.
Ready to go, ready to build the arena. It was going to be great. And the coronavirus, in all fairness, that's a problem. But
in all fairness,
we could have made a deal to have the convention in North Carolina where we wanted it. And as a result, the state of North Carolina is going to lose all of those jobs and millions of dollars. And I would recommend strongly that you vote for Dan.
If you gave money to the Trump campaign, if you gave money to the Trump campaign, you got this as in your email box.
Bishop, he's a great gentleman. He's a great. Dan Bishop is a great guy and running for Congress, and we want you to.
Alfred, if you're gonna go straight QAnon, again, just get a book on grammar and work it out. And by the way, your president went to dance parties with a pedophile.
Vote for Dan Bishop. We want you to vote for Greg Murphy. We want you to vote for all.
He's got a list. Excuse me, I can't read all of these because I've got liberal, Democrat, written like mob written over it in Sharpie.
All of these incredible people, and we have a man, I believe he's on the phone right now, Senator Tom Tillis. He's done a fantastic job. Your lieutenant governor, who is running against Cooper, is Dan Forrest, and I hope you give him a real good look because he's fantastic. He's been with us all the way, all the way. Dan Forrest is your lieutenant governor. He's running for governor. He wants to help us. He wants to do a fantastic job, and he will do a fantastic job.
This is just awful. Dude, this is a tele-rally. This is like telemedicine, which we invented. We made it up. No one ever had telemedicine except for the 8 years before I came into office.
But your congressman, from Dan Bishop to Greg Murphy, and you remember the great victory that we had there. Patrick McHenry, who's incredible, fantastic guy. Virginia Fox, we all know Virginia. Richard Hudson, Congressman David Rozier, Congressman Ted Budd.
Literally, Kayleigh McEnany is standing over his shoulder, pointing at which name to say next.
A few, and they are.
I have all the best words, and I'm going to use them all in this phone call.
Warriors, I say it. And then you had the Dan Bishop win and the Greg Murphy win that same night. They're all warriors.
Seriously.
Really, Tom Tillis has been fantastic. We had disagreements early on, and after that, it's been great. He's been a great senator, a great help to me. And we really have, you have a fantastic team there. But
can you imagine being a Trumpster and listening to this thing with bated breath, going, "Oh, please, please, please say MAGA."
You look at those congressional candidates. You look at the congressional, not candidates. Some of them, most of them are in office now. Fortunately, with Bishop and with Murphy, you had a night that was a night to remember. That was a night that was supposed to be either close or they were supposed to lose, and they each won easily.
Jesus Christ. Wait, the Dems are the ones that bought and paid for the virus to hurt Trump at everyone's expense and colluded because he called them out on trade. He owes them $300 million, you QAnon nutcase. God, I love how, like the flailing on Facebook. You know, I let you guys back in, and then you don't know how to behave properly with other people. I don't understand it. I mean, you're in someone else's house, act like it.
They won by a lot. And that was sort of the beginning of what we're doing. I also want to thank GOP Chairman Michael Whatley, who's on the phone. He's been fantastic for North Carolina, and he's been a friend of ours. He's doing an incredible.
By the way, I did not put this picture in. And if I did, I certainly wouldn't put the text Trump to that number to give him money. So if you think I did this,
job, but all of those people, they need your support. Since my inauguration, I've been fighting for the hard.
Again, this isn't. I'm not doing the whole thing of this one. This is absurd. But look at this. Back up. There's another one. Arizona.
Welcome, the 45th President of the United States, President Donald J. Trump.
Well, thank you very much, and hello, Arizona. I'm thrilled to be with you and talk to you today about the critical decisions facing our country, and we have some big ones, and you know that. We've been doing really well. Numbers are looking really incredible for this comeback that we've already staged and are staging. We have record-setting job growth and everything else.
We do not have job growth. I mean, this part of it is the dumbest thing. His whole idea that if you lose 30 million jobs and you get 3 million jobs back, those 3 million jobs count as an additive to the 30. It's 30. We now have 33 million jobs.
But we got hit by the plague from China, and that set us back. We were having the best year we've ever had, the best numbers, the best stock markets, which are frankly getting close to being the best already again. But we got hit, and we're doing a really good job on that. And I think very soon you're going to see some fantastic news in terms of vaccines and therapeutics and just fighting it the way we've been fighting it. We built ventilators. We did all sorts of things that nobody thought, frankly, were possible.
At least he's saying something new and kind of interesting that holds your interest.
We inherited empty cupboards, and it was.
We're going back to we're playing the hits now. The cupboards were bare, and I left them that way for 3.5 years.
Good situation, but we've helped the 50 states We've actually.
How long does this go on?
And we're working with a lot of great nations on this, but we are leading the way. Through the Paycheck Protection Program, we provided nearly $9 billion.
Nearly.
So that 80,000 Arizona small businesses could continue paying their workers. We're also working now on a phase 4 with Congress, and I think it's going to be very successful. We're getting it through. We're getting through this bad period. In Iraq, which was a disaster, we're just about out of Iraq, very close, very few troops. And he voted for mass amnesty. And if you look at mass amnesty, you see exactly what you're getting. Now Biden supports raising your taxes. He wants massive tax increases.
No, he wants the business taxes to go back to 28% instead of going down to 21% from 35%.
In life, I grew up and I said, hey, politicians, they want to lower your taxes. Not this group. They want massive tax increases. They want to pack your courts with radical far-left judges. That's what we just talked about. You'll have...
Your judges just voted against you. There's nothing like, again, when you're on the cliff that is the farthest right, and if you take one more step, you fall off, everyone is to the left of you.
Justices and judges literally packed in your courts, totally changing our country.
Says the guy who's been, only thing that the Christian right supports him on is packing the courts. Thanks, Robin.
Totally changing our way.
Oh my God.
Illegal aliens. So they want to have more aliens come in, which is not what you want. They want to have taxpayer-funded lawyers at the highest level possible for illegal aliens. So on top of everything else, everyone's going to have their own lawyer. Abolish immigration enforcement against illegal workers. Zero carbon emissions for homes, offices, and all new buildings by, well, within a very short period of time. Now, I'll tell you, that'll make your
by 2050
home unaffordable. Your electric will go up by 4 to 5 times, if that. It'll be maybe.
It'll probably be. It says 4 to 5 times on my paper, but I'm just going to keep saying a number bigger than that because
more
embellishing isn't lying. It's just like more truth.
They want to mandate zero carbon emissions. And everybody, they've worked hard.
This is the virtual Arizona tele-rally. Oh, by the way, there's a Michigan virtual tele-rally, too.
45th President of the United States, President Donald J. Trump.
Woo!
Hello, everybody, and hello, Michigan. Very great place. We had some great victories there, I will tell you that. But
we're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Karen.
I'm sorry.
There's one in particular. We appreciate
I can't insert stuff.
We have to do it again. We're building a lot of car plants and brought back a lot of industry that nobody thought they'd ever see again. But we're doing great with the cars.
I'm doing great with the cars, even though I was against the auto bailout.
We'll be announcing very shortly. We got plenty of activity in Michigan. It's been an incredible period.
Yeah, like a spike in COVID.
But also I want to welcome Central Michigan because we have.
I need to single out Central Michigan because that's the area I lost, which has the most people in it.
As you know, through John Molinar.
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
Sorry.
Congressman, we've done something that people are very happy about. The Edenville Dam broke, and it was a disaster, and so I signed a major disaster declaration, $43 million.
Which they requested, and that's what the president usually does when a dam breaks.
And I think that's...
It's, excuse me, John, it's you're a jerk, Y-O-U''RE. And try harder. I'm sorry. You got to work a little harder if you're going to troll.
We're going to be a little bit higher than that when it's done, but we're going to take care.
And I am. I don't care.
Those people that are great people, and the work has already started. So it's an honor to be on the phone with you. I know a lot of the folks from the area there.
I don't know where these people are. They're mostly on Facebook. Here you go.
That's pretty well flooded out, but we'll be taking care of it. Something we didn't have to do, but we are doing it. So we
don't have to. I mean, it's not like it's part of America.
Welcome everybody from that area and Michigan generally. I'm thrilled to be with you and talking.
Oh my God.
Have
This one's 23 minutes long.
Through good negotiation, Mexico has got 27,000 troops on our border. You notice?
Oh my God, that story. Yeah, they're keeping Americans out.
The cartels have having a hard time, but
he's getting these hard. It's a difficult time for those cartels.
Caravans have stopped. If you remember, we had thousands and thousands of people pouring up in caravans.
And then all of a sudden, we had more cases than Mexico, and suddenly they don't want to come here anymore.
Don't allow
it's so
that.
Weird.
We stopped them from Guatemala, from Honduras, from El Salvador. We stopped them in Mexico. And you don't see the caravans anymore. Very dangerous to the people, frankly, in the caravan.
The caravan's full of dangerous people. That's all right.
Reported over 16,000 gang members. We've arrested 2,000 MS-13 members.
Yeah, the ones you arrested are American citizens.
This is very important for the people in Michigan and for people in the suburbs of Michigan.
Yeah, there's a big MS-13 problem in Cedar Rapids. Cedar Rapids. What's the north part of Detroit called? It's been a while. I'll remember it in a second.
Just the people in our country, 2,000 MS-13 members.
I haven't traveled in so long. Sad.
And we are, it's
Cedar Rapids is in Iowa. I know.
To be the toughest of all the gangs. We don't know about that, but we have done a real number on them. And we're now prosecuting many of the MS-13 leaders on charges of terrorism, which had never been done before, to defend the...
No, one of them, because they did acts that had nothing to do with the commerce that was going on in the gang. They were just scaring a community, so you use that as terrorism. That's just Patriot Act stuff. People said the Patriot Act was going to lead to that kind of thing. And it's because you couldn't get him on other shit. That's like saying we got Al Capone through the IRS. First time that's ever been done. Gross Point.
Great people of Michigan and farms and ranchers and all of the business.
Thank you. I got Gross Point Blank is one of my favorite movies, by the way. Love that movie.
And
it's Saginaw, Michigan. The UP in Michigan is completely overrun.
Manufacturing, and most importantly, I think for you, the automobile business.
I think for you because when I think of Michigan, that's all I think about. I don't even think about Flint's water.
We've officially replaced the disaster known as NAFTA with the brand new USMCA. The USMCA is expected to create hundreds of thousands of new automotive jobs in the next few years, and a lot of...
Expected by who? Expected by you?
Those jobs are going to Michigan. You know that. You see all of the plants that have been built, and you see all of the plants...
Oh, yeah, like the Toyota plant. Oh, wait, that's in Tennessee, and it's a Japanese car company. Never mind.
...have been expanding in Michigan. I received, years ago, I guess 10 years ago, the Man of the Year in Michigan.
I had such a crush on Minnie Driver after Grosse Point Blank, and that line where she goes, "You're a fucking psycho," was like one of the sexiest things I'd ever seen in my life.
Amazing. We are marshaling all of our efforts to defeat the virus and do it quickly, and the vaccines and the therapeutics are coming along, as I said, very, very rapidly. We expect to have 100 million doses of vaccine available, certainly before the end of the year, but we think we're going to have therapeutically or through vaccine something announced long before even that, and we're ready logistically to take it and run with it. Through the paycheck...
Who's we? You mean Johnson & Johnson, or the British NHS, or the South Koreans, or the European Union, or the German lab you tried to buy out? Whoever comes up with it, we're going to produce a bunch of it and spread it all over the world because it's wrecked the world economy. So nobody's going to have to pay for this, no matter who makes it.
Protection program, we provided billions of dollars to Michigan and their small businesses. And
yeah, and you requested half of what they got.
That's been great. After years of devastating budget cuts, we rebuilt our military, $2.5 trillion. It's in the best condition it's ever been in. We have new tanks and planes and ships, missiles, all welded.
If only we had someone to destroy.
Deserve pay raises. We've had 3 pay raises. And I think...
Yeah. There was a pay raise for our military every single year of the Obama administration, and the largest one happened under Obama in 2010.
Very importantly, all built in the USA.
No, the F-35 is built in like 6 different countries.
All of the new equipment, whether it's tanks or planes or ships or missiles or anything you want to talk about, it's built in the USA.
Thanks, Gary. I take that as a great compliment. Hal is a cooler, less see you next Tuesday-ish Bill Maher. All right.
So that's been great. And very important.
And I'm cheaper. You don't have to have a cable subscription. You can watch for free. Or you can help support the show by thumbs up and all that fun stuff. You know, just, yeah. Or if you're a troll, you can just watch every day, like hate watch, and that boosts my numbers. Thank you.
For our vets, we have choice. Everyone said getting veterans choice was impossible. So if a veteran...
No, it wasn't. God damn it. This one, okay, I know that there is a right-winger in the crowd right now that believes this bullshit that Trump keeps selling, and still to this day, the news media, whenever he says this, I got choice passed. I got it passed. No one could do it. 45 years. No one did it. For our great veterans. It's for our great veterans. I did it. No one could do it. The Veterans Choice Act was passed in 2014. It was signed into law by President Obama. Veterans Choice. Access to care from non-VA providers. Claims processing done that way. Project receiver closer to home. It shortens it so that if you have to drive too far, you don't have to go to, even if you can get an appointment, if you have to drive too far, you're still gonna, you can get a closer doctor. Obama signed this in 2014. Veterans Choice. We got choice passed. Yes, we did. In 2014 under President Obama. You jackass. Hi. Oh, you do? Oh my gosh. Cat scratch fever. Look out. Oh, who was that? What do you think? Jordan? Son of a... That's just wrong. Good idea to climb my back. Oh, all right. Well, we're ordering dinner. So you get this is real live inside stuff. I told her to no, we got to feed everybody. So and like I said, this one was going to go a little longer. So what is this is under classic entrees? What do I have to choose from? Oh, I see. You guys get to see what I'm ordering for dinner. Let's see. Let's see. My favorites are amazing Alfredos, or let's see, create your own pasta. That's it. It's really pretty much it.
There's a steak in the Alfredo.
What am I going to get?
But it looks too buttery.
Who eats chicken parmesan? I don't understand that.
My child.
I don't get it. It's always creeped me out as a dish in general.
There's a steak, but it's in the Alfredo and you can't taste it.
That's hilarious. The giant cheese, oh my God, giant cheese stuffed shells. It looks like a starfish that someone nuked.
There's a grilled chicken on the bottom.
There is? Oh yeah. Is there a, I think the shrimp a la caca or something should be, all right, how about that? That'll work. I'll do that.
Salad or soup?
Salad. Salad.
Salad.
Yes.
Okay.
What else should I have? Should I decide? Yeah. Cheese with white sauce is creepy. I agree. Yeah. It's completely nasty. Manicotti. Yeah, I'm not having manicotti. It looks terrible. It looks like, honest to God, the way they place it on the plate, it looks like someone took a starfish and just zapped it with a ray and it exploded. White goo. Yeah, hold on 1 second. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That should work. If not, I can give you cash if you want to pick it up that way. That's what we'll end up doing. Hi, speaking of cash, want to help the show? Super chat? Maybe become a Patreon subscriber? This is what happens to your money. It feeds my face. So the show continues. Thank you very much. Also, it buys me cans of Troll Begone. All right, here we go. Fettuccine Alfredo classically, fettuccine Alfredo, I think, was one of Mitch Hedberg's greatest insights. He had a lot of great lines, but some of his greatest insights, one of them was, fettuccine Alfredo is macaroni and cheese for adults. It is so true. By the way, everybody's saying hi, Summer. She's getting other stuff for the kids. There you go. Oh, tiramisu. Add a tiramisu. And someone's going to super chat. Aren't you? You're going to pay for the tiramisu? I wasn't going to, but oh my gosh. Yeah, it's mac and cheese for adults. So, yeah, back to Trump fans are deluded psychopaths and will suck up to this moron no matter how much he lies right down their gullet, like some sort of giant lying vulture barfing falsehoods into the mouth of its chicks. Veterans Access, Choice, and Accountability Act, the Choice Act, called Choice Act, called the Choice Act. You know why? Because it gave them VA choice. It was veterans got choice because VA choice. VA Choice Act of 2014, signed into law. This is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs website. Okay? Okay. Get it? You see that? So when the president says, was it this one? I'm losing track of it here.
Everyone said getting veterans' choice was impossible. So if a veteran has to wait on line for any period of time, they go outside, they get a doctor, we pay the bill, and our veteran gets taken care of. Everyone said that was impossible. Sounds simple, it wasn't. They've been trying to get it for 50 years. I got it done.
Really? Really? Do I need to just, how about this? Can we do this real quick? I'm going to make a little short video right now. This is my first attempt at doing this kind of thing.
In line for any period of time, they go outside, they get a doctor, we pay raises, and I think very importantly, all bills.
Okay. So, in case you don't normally watch the stream, I'm making a small clip right now because this is one of the most egregious lies and this bugs the living shit out of me. So, Trump is constantly saying this.
In the USA, all of the new equipment, whether it's tanks or planes or ships or missiles or
all the stuff that was ordered during the Obama administration and added to the budget.
anything you want to talk about, it's built in the USA, so that's been great.
By the way, the F-35 is built in 6 different countries.
And very importantly for our vets, we have
Here it comes.
choice. Everyone said getting veterans' choice was impossible. So if a veteran has to wait in line for any period of time, they go outside, they get a doctor, we pay the bill, and our veteran gets taken care of. Everyone said that was impossible. Sounds simple, it wasn't. They've been trying to get it for 50 years. I got it done.
Yeah, this is the Veterans Choice Act of 2014, signed into law by Barack Obama. It's called the Choice Act, getting choice. Everybody, can we settle this bullshit once and for all? Can everybody in the media stop letting this lie slide? Please. I mean, I know it's a gish gallop. He's talking out of his ass all the time. But this one is particularly egregious to me. Because it's such a verifiable, obvious, duplicitous lie. And hiding behind veterans and saying he came up with this and they never could get it passed. Oh, yeah, that's hold on. Let's see. No, it's not. Uh-huh. There you go. I think that should do it. Ta-da.
Awesome.
No, I'm sorry. Love you. Thank you. Okay. Yes, the kids wanted you stink. That's your response, Diana? That's the best the maggots can come up with. You stink. What about Obama lies? What do you mean? Like if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor, as if anybody liked a situation where if they needed medical help, an emergency, it wouldn't be included in their insurance. Are you nuts? Let's just stay on point, shall we? So let's I know you want to blame everything on Obama, but in this case, Barack Obama, whom you hate, signed this into law. All right? I can't make a video out of this anymore because it's a big, long, like, I interrupted dinner in the middle of it. But this is ongoing.
Gets taken care of. Everyone said that was impossible. Sounds simple. It wasn't. They've been trying to get it for 50 years. I got it done, and
that is such an egregious, ridiculous lie on the backs of veterans, claiming in any. Oh, thank you, Amber. Anybody who buys this raft of bullshit that he throws out any times and then pretends to give a shit about the troops is the same crowd that was like, we support our troops. That's why we're behind the Iraq war. Like, piss off. So is half the deep state supporting. Oh my God. Aussie Nobody, I'm sorry to tell you, you have no friends, and I'm sorry you're lonely, and I hope you find your way back to reality one day. You stink. It's rough. This is, yeah, I know he lies all the time. Like, he exaggerates. It's constant. But he, for some reason, thinks, I almost don't believe he thinks this is true. He can't not know this because he didn't sign the bill. They make updates to it regularly, like every bill, but this one is frigging ridiculous. And if you support Donald Trump and you support this lie, shame on you. Shame on you for pretending you give a shit about our vets, because you didn't give a shit when this got signed under Obama. You didn't congratulate Obama for getting this done. You didn't say you were proud of him for caring about our vets then, because you didn't care then. And you're an idiot and you're a psychopath. But thanks for stopping by.
Accountability done. Veterans accountability. This is where you had sadists, you had thieves, you had some very big...
There's no situation anywhere where someone was putting cigarettes out on our vets or stealing and they didn't get busted. There is no such thing.
Had people working at the VA. They weren't able to fire them. Now we fire.
That's not true. That's assault and theft. That's always been a crime.
We fired over 9,000 people that were bad for our veterans.
Mm-hmm.
People that took horrible, that were abusive and terrible. We're now able to get bad people. We want them to love our vets and respect our vets.
So that we can pretend that we signed a bill that was already in place.
We will have appointed a record number by the end of the year of federal judges, close to 300.
And notice in the other call he was talking about court packing.
America's security, an American way of
I
life.
can't listen to the whole
They'll destroy
thing.
our military. They'll destroy our VA.
You gotta be worried because the Democrats are gonna just destroy the military.
Look at what they're doing.
But Trump voted for but hate Biden for voting for the Iraq war because he's so anti-military.
Their plans. It's not even.
But Trump's the only one who's going to save you because Biden's so anti-police that he voted for the crime bill.
Not even to be thought about.
That literally this guy wants to vilify Biden for voting for the Iraq and Afghanistan conflicts and for voting for the crime bill and still say he's anti-cop and anti-military. That he's going to decimate all police and that he's going to gut our military. Pick one.
Look, there's never been a decision more important than the decision you're about to make, November.
Maybe the choice to have the Taco Bowl on Cinco de Mayo at Trump Tower. That also is just as good.
Get out and vote.
Also the decision to go golfing during a pandemic.
And be careful with your mail-in ballots if we have to go that way. A lot of court cases going on right now.
Yeah. You're not legally allowed to vote in Florida. You do not have a residence in Florida. Mar-a-Lago is a commercial property that you signed a contract that said no one can have a residency there. This is so that hotels in Florida, because they want cruise ships to launch from there and they don't want people using the top floors of a hotel as apartments without paying an extra taxing fee, a tax fee in the state of Florida. So they make you sign a contract when you open up, you convert a private residence, which is what they did in the case of Mar-a-Lago, into a golf course or a golf clubhouse, is that you can rent the place out temporarily. People would stay overnight in the bedroom, but no one can live there. That's the law in Florida, okay? That's the contract he signed, swearing that if he turns Mar-a-Lago from a private residence into a commercial property, no one can call it their residence. And he is now calling it his residence so that he can vote in Florida and avoid paying state taxes because Florida has none. Also, he doesn't live there. He lives in Washington, D.C., and he did live in New York. He still retains a primary residence property in New York City. He's just moving his primary, but that place can actually be living quarters. He can live in Trump Tower. It's an apartment building. Also, Trump, yes, good point, Lisa and Seth. Thank you. Also, Trump allowed Russia to put bounties on our soldiers' heads and doesn't give a shit. He said nothing. He will do nothing. It will continue. He doesn't care. We lost 10 Green Berets and 20 other soldiers last year, and 10 other soldiers, 20 total last year, because bounties were put on their heads.
But be careful, because they're sent out by the millions, and it's a very dangerous thing. Absentee ballots are good. You have to go through a process. That's good. But mail-in ballots, you got to be very careful. Let's see what happens in the courts. But
let's see what happens in the courts. Here's a good idea. And by the way, a lot of people are going to request mail-in ballots because we don't know when the next wave will be. And as you get into the fall, even his Renfield under him says that it's going to be a very dangerous time, by the way. But I bet you anything, the lines are going to be enormous this fall. I'm going to call it that even with mail-in ballots, there is going to be an overwhelming vote this fall. The volume of humans voting in person. Yeah, and mail-in ballots are absentee ballots, right? Precisely. And doesn't Oregon have or Washington State, there's no question you can mail in your ballot no matter what, because they live in, 80% of the state is woods. I'm going to vote in person. I will have my mail-in ballot because that's how I'm always traveling. So sometimes I'll get work and I'll have to be out of town, or I'll be filming or working someplace else. I don't know what that's going to be like this election, because God knows what production's going to look like this fall. But I always get my mail-in ballot, but I usually walk it in to a voting place because I love doing that.
Biden and these people are looking to do things.
Yeah, Oregon and Washington are 100% mail-in, right?
That are
Vote.org. And by the way, all you QAnon nutcases and Trumpsters and maggots, like I tell you every day, I want you to vote and I don't want you to die. Go to vote.org, make sure you're registered, make sure you can vote, make sure you show up, state your piece. This is a democracy. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely destructive of our economy. As you know, he supported NAFTA, TPP, which would have been a disaster.
TPP would have cornered China. It's absurd. Like, TPP was vilified because everybody learned to hate NAFTA. The loss of manufacturing in this country had more to do with people moving stuff to China than it did to Mexico.
That's in Korea. I read it.
And those weren't swapped out. These were new industries that weren't built here.
Negotiated it, made it great for us.
I vote in Los Angeles because that's my primary residence. And I have a residence there. I live there. I also live here, but I live there when there's not a pandemic. And I vote from there.
And China's entry into the World Trade Organization.
And I don't vote here because I vote there. See how that works? So I don't vote in both places, Ann Coulter.
Which was a disaster for our country. They're given all sorts of advantages that we don't have, but we've largely clamped down on that. He voted for.
Oh my God.
They want to abolish it, against illegal workers. Grant work permits to illegal aliens. not even believable, some of the things you're going to hear. They want to provide...
No, if they have work permits, they'll no longer be illegal. They'll just be migrant workers, and they'll go home. Okay. The comprehensive immigration bill that has been stalled in Congress forever has in it a provision for migrant workers who come in from Mexico during seasons of heavy picking and leave when it's over. In some cases, they live right on the border. They cross the border, work, and then go home at night. For a long time, farmers and big agribusiness down on the border has been using illegal migrant workers, paying them under the table so that they don't have to, they can depress wages, they don't have to pay people a living wage, they don't have to live up to that standard. They can use basically the Mexican pay scale in the United States. So they do it all illegally. The businesses are the ones that are illegal. That's why you need things like E-Verify or Card Check or those kind of things. But what you do is, instead of those people being illegal, they're regular migrant workers. They're part of that. They get work permits, but they don't get green cards, and they don't get non-resident status, and they don't get to live here, citizenship, unless they go through the path like everyone else. There's like 6 different tiers in immigration when you come in here, whether it's an education visa or a work visa, or you have a business, like a specialty skill related one, or you marry somebody. There's all kinds of variants in this. And pretending that there's only one and there's only one kind of illegal is just fear-mongering nonsense.
Taxpayer subsidies and welfare for illegal aliens and new immigrants. In many cases, this would be more than our own citizens are getting, and substantially.
No, it wouldn't.
And what it's going to...
No, it wouldn't. I mean, that's just patently false. You would get the same protections when on our soil. In the same way, by the way, that most immigrants who are, like, if you get murdered, we investigate the crime and we try to catch the person who did it. Just like we would if you were a citizen. We don't go, I don't know, they were from France. Let the French handle it. Can they come in here and look for the murderer? No, that's we don't let. Maybe we'll work out something with Interpol later, but let me think about it.
Do is bring tens of millions of people to our country, and we can't have it. Government health care for all illegal aliens. So everyone's going to come to America.
No. That's not what they're saying. They're saying that to get, say, for example, the COVID vaccine, you don't have to show immigrant status, because you don't want people who are afraid to come in and get a shot who are living under the table because they're going to get snatched up, or people in the same house as somebody else are bringing everybody in their household to get a shot because they're afraid that they'll get thrown out of the country and then stay home, get the disease, and spread it to the citizenry.
Free government health care. That's what it really means. Federal student aid and free community college for illegal aliens. We don't get that for our own people. They want to sign new immigrants up for welfare immediately and maximize all welfare payments.
No, that's not what it actually is, but I appreciate the attempt.
Massively expand immigration.
You, by the way, anybody who questions what I'm talking about, go to Joe Biden's website. Go to joebiden.com and actually read through his policy papers. Their biggest fear, and the reason he's saying all this nonsense, is because they're afraid you're going to go to his page and recognize that the only thing, that Biden's entire plan is, look, we want to go back to the good old days of normal functioning democracy. We just want to make sure everybody's included in the country, that there's not 3 different Americas. We want to make sure that you can go to ball games and start a business and go to school, and there's not a different standard for you and somebody across town. That's it. You know all that stuff, you're like, God, I wish we could just go back to like watching NASCAR races, or going to a baseball game, or shopping, or going out in public, or going to the beach, or going to the park, or going to the library, or taking a class, expanding your mind, going to yoga classes, having coffee with a friend, writing a book, creating a business, going to college, furthering your education, all the shit that makes life worthwhile, having relationships, all that stuff, all of it. Biden's like, can we just go back to that, please? All we just want to make sure is that everybody gets a shot at that. Nobody's going to be guaranteed it, because if you're an asshole, you'll still be an asshole when all this is done. But everybody should get a shot at it. Basically, the eradication of any kind of redlining that exists. That's it. That's it. And he's afraid you're going to go to look at his at Biden's website and go, oh yeah, this is pretty reasonable. Yeah, if you think this shit through, this seems like a decent way to go.
During a global pandemic, which we're in now, taking jobs from unemployed Americans. End all travel bans. We won the big travel ban, but they want to end all travel bans. We won it in the United States Supreme Court, 5-4.
Oh my God. Just because you want to take a more complex view, you don't just stop people from a country, because there's a bunch of people in those countries who are escaping the very violence you're against.
Which tells you.
So you don't just stop everybody who's stuck there. It's like that. There's a bad guy living in that house. He beats his wife and kids. So that house is bad. So if his wife and kids come running out of there, they're not allowed out of the house because it's a terrible house. It's not the guy that's the problem who's beating them and who's sexually and physically abusive. He's not the problem. It's the house that's the problem.
Again, how important it is to keep the court and win the court, including from jihadist regions. So we have bans that.
Wait, are we keeping the court from jihadist regions? By the way, you know there are a lot of people who aren't jihadists who are trying to escape those regions, who have family ties in the United States, who would be a good addition to the country.
Allowed to put on, given by the Supreme Court, jihadist regions. If that's the case, they want to end.
Because you don't have a system in place to filter through people. Because you don't care to.
All travel bans. They want to grant mass amnesty. These are just.
Wait a minute. Are we talking about Biden or Reagan?
Some of the things in the very long document that was approved between.
Yeah, the one you called for during your meeting with your interview with Chris Wallace. That one.
Joe Biden's camp, because I doubt he ever read it, and the Bernie Sanders group and AOC and that group of beauties. Increase refugee admission 700%, abolish law enforcement as we know.
No, that's your interpretation that it would increase refugee entry by 700%. And by the way, when you try to stop everyone, even valid asylum seekers, then 700% is, if you only let one person in and you let 8 in now, that's 700%.
They want to end cash bail.
Diane, try harder, please. I mean, if you're going to just say stuff, make some effort.
Releasing dangerous criminals onto the streets. No cash bail. Abolish the.
Yes, no cash bail. If you're a dangerous criminal, you pay a bond, which is a lot of money. But paying $200 because you were pulled over and you had a warrant for expired tags just makes poor people have a harder time with that debt. They were broke or they'd have paid the fine already. That's the point. And then it cycles. This happens to a ton of white people, by the way. He somehow thinks, and this is what they're trying to scare everybody with, is there's going to release a bunch of black people out onto the street that are going to kill you. That's the whole point of this. This is old school, late 80s, like fear of crime nonsense. Cash bail isn't aimed at people who are committing assault and rape and murder. That's bonds. That you are bonded. And most of the time, by the way, if you get rid of cash bail, you're going to see way more people lose their ability to get get bail through a bond. They're going to get dumped. They're just going to be thrown in jail. You're going to sit it out.
Death penalty. Appoint social justice prosecutors to free violent criminals.
Hi, Brendan. My band's name is 01, but I'm also in Nerd Halen.
And that would be reducing our police forces down to a very low number.
I don't know that Diane is a racist. I'm not going to say that as the primary thing. I don't make those kind of descriptives about most people. Politicians, some celebrities have it coming, but the average person, I don't know them enough or have enough of a picture to say that. I will say she's an asshole.
They want to seek prison closures so that we don't have very many.
Yes. So if you have a prison that holds 500 people, that only has 50 people in it, and you're paying a private company to keep this giant facility open, and you don't have the criminals to fill it, you close it down and convert it into something else and move those 50 prisoners to other facilities.
Prisons anymore. End solitary confinement, free federal housing for former inmates so that inmates can have nice, posh housing.
No, so that they don't take up more land than is necessary. I thought the NIMBY crowd would like this.
Abolish energy.
Abolish energy. That's what Biden's for, is abolishing energy.
Rejoin the very expensive...
He just moved on from that one. Holy shit. He just moved on. That wasn't abolish energy, any fossil fuels, or blah, blah, blah. Just abolish energy. We're all going to be... It's all flint and steel, and you're going to make a fire, and Biden's going to come over and piss on it, and it won't be. And we're going to eat cold soup for the rest of our lives.
Prohibitively, trillions of dollars ultimately rejoined the Paris Climate Accord. This would have been a disaster for our country.
No, it wouldn't have. It would have just raised the standard for first world nations, and we would have had leverage to get second and third world nations to come along and stop polluting as much. But it would also made us the primary inventors and purveyors of high quality energy technology for the future.
Benefit of many other countries. They want to rejoin the Paris Accord. I ended it because I said it's a ripoff to the United
Yeah, we know what you said equals MC0.
States. They want to mandate net zero carbon emissions for homes, offices, and all new buildings by
net zero. Net zero. This is another thing. This is the more tests you do, the more cases you get. No, the more the net zero things means you have to offset it with other stuff, which means states will provide taxpayer subsidies for solar panels. Like these big solar farms, for example, are not the way to go. The way to go is house to house solar panels. That if you could remove the HVAC energy usage from every house in Las Vegas, the energy usage overall would drop by almost 2/3. It's incredible what you could do. So making it net zero, yeah. It's the net zero internet company. They're going to make everybody use net zero, and you'll all be using Netscape when you're trying to watch Netflix.
2030, they want to mandate zero carbon emissions for power plants. They want to mandate net zero carbon emissions.
Net zero, right. Do you understand what net zero is? Offsetting those costs so that they don't end up in the lungs of the taxpayer. Why should a company be able to operate at optimal profit if they cause more damage that they don't? If they cause damage they don't have to pay for? Literally, this is the analogy that I've used before, but this Republican methodology is that I have a coffee shop and I have 5 employees. To stay in business, though, I have to shoot a random customer once a year. You'd lock me up and throw away the key. That's insanity. But they're like, well, it's an important part of the business community, and you should be free to do anything on your land, and it's like that person was on your property at the time they died, so they weren't robbing or doing anything. They just need to die.
Overall, that would make it impossible.
Oh yeah, I said Netscape, Tanya.
Economically, for people to live in our country. Your electrical
impossible economically to live in our country.
Costs and your utility costs would go up maybe 8 or 9 times more expensive.
It said 3 or 4, remember, in his other paper? And he's just driving the number up.
Expensive, ridiculous.
So I see that you saying lab rats. I appreciate that. I'm glad you like the show.
They want to abolish school choice, end school choice, abolish all charter schools. They want to abolish educational standards. And
what? They want to abolish educational standards? We don't want any testing. We don't want to make sure schools are doing well. I think you're mixing up the fact that one charter school in an area that gets an equal number but everybody has choice to go out, but they don't have, all that money goes to that charter school. It just kills all the other school, and it can't take enough. There can't be enough of them built at one time, and you can't convert all the schools to charter schools because they have to maintain their financial equity, I guess, over their entire lifetime. So if they just decide they don't want to do it anymore, they're gone. But the public school system is permanent.
Want to enforce a horrible situation on our suburbs. The men and women that have fought so hard to live in a beautiful area.
Yeah, the battle of the suburbs. Remember when you guys fought in that? I still have my shield.
To enforce Obama-Biden's radical AFFH regulation that threatens to strip localities of federal affordable housing funds unless they change their zoning laws to fit the federal government's demands. And I'm going to...
All right. Let's see. AFFH. Affirmatively furthering fair housing. HUD exchange. HUD exchange. Okay. Affirmatively furthering fair housing. This is a really terrible one. Is a legal requirement that federal agencies and federal guarantees further the purpose of the Fair Housing Act. This obligation to affirmatively further fair housing, Jesus Christ, has been in the Fair Housing Act since 1968. That's weird. That's fun. HUD's AFFH rule provides an effective planning approach to aid program participants in taking meaningful actions to overcome historic patterns of segregation, promote fair housing choice, and foster inclusive communities that are free from discrimination. As provided in the rule, AFFH means taking meaningful actions in addition to combating discrimination that overcome patterns of segregation and foster inclusive communities free from barriers that restrict access to opportunity based on the protection characteristics, specifically affirmatively furthering fair housing. Means taking meaningful actions that taken together address significant disparities in housing needs and in access to opportunity, replacing segregated living patterns. Notice I'm not doing this with a finger. With truly integrated and balanced living patterns, transforming racially and ethnically concentrated areas of poverty into areas of opportunity, and fostering and maintaining compliance with civil rights and fair housing laws. The duty to affirmatively further fair housing extends to all of a program participants' activities and programs related to housing and urban development. Let's see. AFFH News. Innovative Housing Showcase comes to Washington, D.C. June 1st to 5th. That just happened. HUD seeks applicants for $1.5 million funding to gain opportunity to train civil rights professionals. So if you want to make some money training some civil rights professionals at the HUD, there's job openings. HUD publishes Fair Housing Organizations database to support planning activities. That's weird. That was in 2018. I wonder how Obama-Biden managed that. HUD announces it will publish 3 Federal Register notices, 2018. HUD announces tentative 2018 schedule for AFFH regional trainings. So they're going to teach people how to do this. But I thought the Obama Biden. But didn't Obama Biden? But don't you recognize that Obama Biden's AFFH rule, the Hafar rule, run by, of course, Secretary of Hafar Ann Melmahay. This AFFH has been in place since 1968. What are you talking about? Obama wasn't president in 1968. He was still in Kenya.
Eliminating, I've already announced it, eliminating the AFFH regulation. It's a disaster. And I think the suburbs will be very happy.
Because they're going to, and so Biden's going to keep it going?
This has been going on for years. Housing prices go down, crime goes up.
Oh, I see. He's going for the there goes the neighborhood vote.
It's ridiculous. So we have a situation in Michigan, but all over the country where there's never...
There's 3 minutes left of this call, by the way. And for the record, Jesus Christ. Is there another one? I bet you there's another one. What do you think? Let's see. Oh no, oh yes, no, Wisconsin. I can't go long on
The
this one.
45th President of the United States.
Hello, Wisconsin. It's like he's been doing these all day. This is what he was doing. Like on those days where you're like, he hasn't made a tweet in 6 hours. He was doing these 20-minute mini rallies.
Hello, Wisconsin. I'm really thrilled to be with you tonight.
I could tell. Can you feel that? Oh, I could feel it.
A COVID problem, COVID-19 problem, as you know. I call it.
That's it. I call it the COVID-19 problem.
China virus. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. They could have stopped it. But I wanted to.
He's even getting bored with his own stuff. Sleepy Don. You can't let Sleepy Don get in there because he'll take away your guns.
With you, and this is really replacing our rallies that we all love so much. We had great rallies in Wisconsin and all over the country, and unfortunately, until this gets solved, and we're doing really well with the.
Unfortunately, until this is over, I have to make these stupid phone calls.
Therapeutics and vaccines, but until that gets solved, it's going to be tough to have those big, massive rallies. So I'm doing telephonic rallies, and
Telephonic rally. I loved their second album. It was, I mean, they were really getting into their real EDM stride. Telephonic rally. I mean, good party music.
Call them the Trump rallies, but we'll do it by telephone, and we have a lot.
That was good. Hold on. Remind me again how Biden is slipping. Let's hear that again, shall we? Without me interrupting.
And we'll call them the Trump. But until that gets solved, it's going to be tough to have those big, massive rallies. So I'm doing telephonic rallies, and we'll call them the Trump rallies, but we'll do it by telephone. And we have a lot of people on the line, and I appreciate it. I love the state. It's been great to me, and I think I've been really.
Oh, good stuff.
Great to it. The election.
I call them the telepathic rallies. I can hear you screaming MAGA and yelling 4 more years in my head.
As you know, is coming.
As I sit here on the toilet.
Up very soon.
Making the 6th one of these today.
Big day, November 3rd, and it's a choice between our real movement of what we've done.
Oh, he's definitely in the bathroom. Real movement. It's truly a real movement.
American patriots and what we're doing with our country, and you see what's going on the other side. It's just not acceptable.
It's not acceptable. That's the way they hit it hard, knock it out of the park.
But this great movement and the radical left. I mean, if you think of it, it's a left-wing mob, and they want to defund the police. They want to raise your taxes. They
do we play the Chris Wallace clip? No, they don't.
Want to tear down our history. They want to.
Our history is not the Confederacy. The Confederacy attacked our history and tried to make it their history and eliminate our history.
Absolutely get rid of our great history, and they wanted to.
Our great history. You mean Fort Bragg and Robert E. Lee?
Demolish, and that will happen, demolish our economy. Our economy is starting to do really well. We had the 2 biggest job numbers in history the last 2
No, we did not.
months. We've created more jobs. If you think what we're
You have not created any jobs.
doing, we're heading up very, very.
No jobs have been created. People who temporarily stopped their jobs went back to their jobs. You would have to be a complete moron to believe that for a second, and he is obviously convinced.
Only the stock market is at a new all-time high if you look at NASDAQ.
Because the stock market doesn't give a shit about working people.
And the other markets are doing really well. It looks like they could be also at a new high very soon, which is pretty amazing considering we just went through a pandemic. We built the
We didn't go through it. We're still in it.
greatest economy ever. Greatest.
You did not. You skated in on the last guy. Holy shit. Okay, skipping ahead. It's the same.
Some of your great Wisconsin Republicans who are fighting right by our side, like Ron Johnson, Senator Ron Johnson, time to your state, like at least 50% has been very helpful to it. The numbers are very big.
Have because these are 23-minute calls. and he mentions these people, but I keep expecting them to show up. Am I, you know, he mentions these people like it's a rally, but they're not there.
I feel a lot differently about the whole situation. We made a great trade deal, and I have to tell you, they bought the largest amount of corn and soybeans that they've ever bought, that anybody's, I think they said it was a record of soybean and record of corn, and that's a tremendous thing, but despite that, I don't know, I feel a little bit differently about it. Maybe
Wait a minute, China... Oh, yeah, China killed 140,000 of our people with an alleged bioweapon, according to him. But they did buy more soybeans than ever before, which they didn't.
China, so I feel a lot differently about the whole situation. We
Wait, hold on.
Worth of our farm product, $200 for South Korea, where we made a brand new great trade deal, which has been very helpful to Wisconsin and everybody else. And we're all set. We were all set to go after the European Union because, frankly, they've treated us very badly. It's a one-way street. But because of the virus, we were all set to go. It was all laid out and beautiful, all ready to go. And the virus made us delay that for a little bit. But they have not treated our farmers properly for many, many years. Sounds nice, European Union, but they haven't. But we have actually, and you see the numbers are very big coming out of China. I made a great deal with China. They're buying.
Yeah, that's why you delayed responding to COVID-19, because you didn't want to upset them.
$40 to $50 billion worth of our farm product, $250 billion overall, including
No, they did not buy $250 billion overall of farm product.
Manufacturing. The problem is that
of manufacturing. What the?
$40 to $50 billion worth of our farm product, $250 billion overall, including manufacturing. The problem is that the ink had not dried. It wasn't even dry when all of a sudden we had to go out and.
Dude, people were dying of this disease while you were still negotiating phase 1.
You know, the virus started coming in. The plague, I call it, started coming in from China. So I feel a lot differently about the whole situation. We made a great trade deal, and I have to tell you, they bought the...
You did not. You were in phase 1. Phase 1 was they're going to buy $50 billion worth of stuff, which they haven't bought yet. And we ended up paying $68 billion to our farmers for the very stuff that China was supposed to buy, and it came out of the taxpayer pocket.
Amount of
socialism.
Corn and soybeans that they've ever bought, that anybody's, I think they said it was a record of soybean and
Yeah, China just culled 700 million pigs last year.
Of corn.
They need all the food they can get.
And that's a tremendous thing, but despite...
I was still calling it a hoax when the ink wasn't even dry.
I don't know. I feel a little bit differently about it, maybe a lot differently about it when we lose lives and we go through what we could have done because it really could have been stopped. And I stood up to China with these historic tariffs, and we were defending Wisconsin work.
Except anything that Ivanka makes or sells through China. Those are interesting. There's no tariffs on those items.
And jobs and factories against the plunder and theft because we were really...
Yeah, we need to send Sarah Cooper all these videos.
Being ripped by China. We're losing $400 and $500 billion a year. And for many...
We weren't losing it. We just weren't buying the same amount of stuff. And by the way, talk to Walmart, you jackass. The $250 billion trade deficit, because they're buying $250 billion worth of stuff. We're buying $500 billion worth of stuff. There's a $250 billion trade deficit because what we're buying was was double what they were buying from us. Okay, that's how the deficits work. They weren't ripping us off. We were buying that stuff. We were manufacturing things over there and we were selling them over here. That $250 billion trade deficit could almost singularly be laid on Walmart.
Years long before I came. Somebody should have done this. Other presidents should have done it. The previous administration should have done it.
Should have what? Let a bioweapon into the country that killed 140 million people, according to you?
virtually, we talk China, but virtually every country took advantage of our country and no longer.
Oh, did they grab us by the vagina without even asking? They just threw a Tic Tac in their mouth and just grabbed us by the crotch? I mean, when they're a big country, we let you do it.
Under my administration, hitting the jackpot on therapeutics and also with vaccines.
See what I say about the gambling.
So the vaccines we think are going to come out, and we're all set logistically with our military.
Yeah, the trucks are going to deliver it. Got that? So I'm concerned. Like Trump keeps saying this. Trump keeps saying that we're all set with the military to deliver the vaccine. So okay, when they do this mass vaccine delivery, are they just going to have trucks parked in Walmart parking lots, like the end of a disaster movie, like the end of Outbreak, just giving shots to people lined up, in 10 different lines in the parking lot? And they all go in and buy a toy, and one of the little girls hands the toy to the soldier and goes, "Thank you for helping us," as the credits roll. And then you realize there's a blood droplet on the doll, and the guy goes like, "Ow, oh. What was that?" And then you're like, is it over? That kind of moment. Will it be that kind of ending to the disaster movie we're currently in? Or follow me on this, will unmarked soldiers in total camouflage roll up in a minivan, snatch you off the street, give you an unmarked shot of some unknown liquid, and tell you you're vaccinated before pushing you out of the car while it's moving?
Our military is literally waiting so that we won't have to take a year.
And the QAnons cannot wait to stand in line and get their magic shot from King Trump. Now, I mean, I know you're out there. We've seen a couple of you Qs bouncing around on Facebook, you morons. Are you going to line up behind a military truck to get a shot for a vaccine that was sped through the system? Huh?
Here to deliver this stuff.
Yeah, they're going to tag your ear like a cow. That's right. How do we know we've had our vaccine? Well, you got these big plastic tags. They just put that in the...
We'll have it out there almost immediately.
Bye.
I've also appointed, so importantly, by the time this term ends, we'll have close to 300 federal judges and appellate judges. Almost 300.
Mm-hmm.
Cut the ribbon. We opened up the line, and we'll be building some cutters. It's magnificent people, great craftsmen, but $6 billion contract.
The ice cutters. Yeah. He went up to Wisconsin. He's like, "Congratulations, you'll be building ships we don't need."
If you look at it, Biden wants to raise your taxes, defund your police, abolish probably your police, which I hate.
Probably. He had to throw a probably in after the Chris Wallace interview.
Abolish probably your police, which I hate even to say, because if you think about it, how ridiculous. But that.
No, you hate even to say, because you know it's a lie and you got stomped by Chris Wallace in the Rose Garden.
It's where they're all heading. Abolish the police. That's not going to happen. I just got
I got it in February 3rd. Didn't get better till April. Sneezing attacks, fever, 103, horrific, fatigue, paralyzing, no taste or smell, can't breathe, can't hold your breath, to take a drink of water. Lost my voice, took 3 months. Good God. Sorry, Brenda. I'm glad you're better, though. Jesus.
Endorsement yesterday of the biggest police organization. And he is packing the courts, wants to pack the court.
That's what you were just bragging that you were doing.
With the radical far-left judges.
You were just saying you're going to pack it with radical far-right judges. And project much?
That we talked about.
By the way, Biden is very much a moderate on these kind of things and is going to put people in who will interpret the Constitution. You guys will freak out because you think normal interpretation of the Constitution is a lefty plot.
And they're indoctrinated.
But then, of course, you made Jeffrey Epstein laugh in a way that made him double over and get embarrassed. What did you say, Mr. President, to Jeffrey Epstein that made him go, "Oh, fuck"?
Our children with hate. It's a whole different thing with hate. So we
filling our children with hate? Really? Oh, I thought that was like they were having little MAGA camps or something.
Our own people don't get this.
And this. So now this is the list he reads through at the end of the call.
Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, and it's not so much him. He doesn't know what's going on.
By the way, he's starting to call him Sleepy Joe, and if you'll notice, he's starting to salivate. This is when his Adderall is starting to wear off, and his dentures start to slip. He gets all slobbery. He gets that. It's super weird. I think it's quite frankly because he and Rudy Giuliani snort the same stuff, and I'm not kidding.
Areas around our country, and it affects very much Wisconsin also.
You know how you hear Rudy Giuliani doing the... That's because they both snort the same thing.
Actually, a very big thing. It's been going on for years where we're destroying the suburbs. We're destroying housing values, and we're creating crime. It's very
with black people moving into the suburbs, what is the world coming to?
Fair to the people that are fortunate.
I've seen mixed race couples buying with a house with a 2-car garage. What the hell?
So hard to attain the American dream. So I just want to say we have to defeat Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, and it's not so much him. He doesn't know what's going on.
It's not so much him. Guys, it's not so much him. It's Carol Channing that's the problem.
Going on, let's face it. It's the radical left people that surround him.
See, he can't even bring himself to, he doesn't buy it about Biden at all.
AOC, the Gang of Three. If you look at AOC, I call it AOC plus 3. If you look at Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, and they've lost control too because the radical left has taken them over too. But we have to do...
Are you kidding? Pelosi has been stiff-arming the far left for so long. They're running, like, get rid of Nancy Pelosi hashtags.
Something, we just can't let this happen to our country.
We can't let this happen to our country.
Get the
oh, believe me, he's obsessed with AOC. I saw that dancing video and I can't get it out of my head.
We have people out right now in Portland stopping the anarchists and the agitators from what?
Snatching people off the street like the friggin' GRU.
They're doing. If I didn't do that, they would destroy Portland just like they almost...
No, they wouldn't. Oh, my God.
In Seattle.
I think I need to fly up to Portland and have a meal and fly back.
We were sending in our people. They were getting ready to go in. And then just before that, the other side, the police from Seattle, they walked in and did it because they didn't want us going in. In Minneapolis.
Yeah, they didn't want you extrajudicially snatching people off the street like this is Russia. I know you envy Putin and Kim Jong-un, and you wish you could run your government like they do, but that's not why America is a great country. We're great because we don't do that shit.
You saw what a mess that was. We were going to send in the National Guard.
Hal, remember to go to Jake's Steak and Seafood. That's a great idea. I'll go to Portland and I'll go to Jake's Steak and Seafood. That's a terrific idea.
The National Guard went in. They did a phenomenal job. They stopped it. It was like a knife going through butter. There was no problem.
A knife going through butter.
We stopped it. And it can be done. It can be done easily, but they don't want it. They don't want help in Chicago. We're going to have to...
Yeah, no. They wouldn't mind help. They just don't want you doing anything because what you do isn't help.
Do something there. We have no choice. But they don't want help in Chicago. They don't want help now in New York.
They don't want help in Chicago. They don't want help in New York.
Crime.
Get him a spittoon or something.
Run by all Democrats, radical left Democrats.
Yep, biggest economies in the world, biggest industries in the world. Currently, I think the cities with the most billionaires in the world.
Every city that's run by these people
has more billionaires than anybody. I mean, I don't count New York necessarily. I think obviously with Google and Facebook, you've got San Francisco and Seattle and Los Angeles and Chicago, and New York's a little dicey because it's hard to tell in New York because there's a lot of fake billionaires there. There's a lot of people who pretend to have money, who don't actually have money, who are actually on paper completely broke. I mean, you'd have to look at their taxes, but there's a lot of people in New York who run, relatively large industries on paper, but have never had a penny of profit in their entire lives.
Destroyed. And we can't let that happen with our country. We can be Venezuela, just like Venezuela. It's the richest country.
That's his Trump 2020. We can be Venezuela.
per capita, just about, in the whole oil. They have everything. Now they don't have medicine, food, water, nothing. So if I might ask, I'd like to just ask those of you that support myself, our agenda, we're all in this together, we want to save our country, if you can press #1 right now, and we'll be able to get back to you, and we want to make this an incredible success. We have to win the state of Wisconsin.
Wait, so at the end of these calls, you hit #1 and first of all, on your phone it's #1 when you're doing a number. That's the pound sign. When it's Twitter, it's hashtag. But understand, he can only think in terms of tweets now. His entire brain is eaten by Twitter. Hit #1, #1. Jesus Christ. Yeah, we're going to have a telephonic debate. I'm going to hang up on Biden in the middle of it and say I won and call it that. Push #1.
Wisconsin has to be done, and we don't win Wisconsin, we could have problems. Won it last time, and Wisconsin.
You won it because of people who didn't vote. You're going to get your ass handed to you in Wisconsin.
Was the biggest winner because I've done more for Wisconsin probably than.
No. What does probably mean? By what definition?
Any other.
There are more dead in Wisconsin than there were on 9/11.
President, we've had tremendous. You had the best year you've ever had for the last 2 years on record.
If you take the last 2 years and you shove them together, you've had the best year ever. Take any 2 years and put them together, it's the best 1 year.
2 years, and I think even the third year, the best you've ever.
If you take 3 years and you push them all together, there'll be 1 year that's good.
Had, and now we're getting it back again.
It's kind of like, I like to think of it as like it's like the wonder brawling of the good times.
And it'll even be better with all of the contracts that are going out to Wisconsin.
Yeah, so you're trying to buy votes.
So
right?
I want to just say God bless everybody, God bless America, and do whatever you can to make sure that we win this election. This is it.
Do whatever you can to, within reason, nutcases. This is not a call to arms. Maybe I feel like I'm being overly sensitive, but.
Very vital election. If we don't win it, our country will never be able to recover. It will be a disaster. Thank you very much.
Yeah, unlike now, which is really sweet. So yeah. So he's going to start his briefings tomorrow. We'll definitely cover that one. But these will be going on, and he's pissed that he has to do it this way. And by the way, I think let's see. Joe Biden. Let's see if I can find this in here. Joe Biden town hall. Virtual town hall. Women's issues 2 months ago, 4 months ago, 3 months ago. He's been doing these all along. Let's see. Did he do one this week? Here's one from 6 days ago.
And there's no more consequential challenge that we must meet in the next decade than the onrushing climate crisis. Left unchecked,
just a normal presidential
it is literally
briefing.
an existential threat to the health of the planet and to our very survival. That's not up for dispute, Mr. President. When Donald Trump thinks about climate change, the only word he can muster is hoax. I think about climate change.
He's gathering, he's having statements, he's doing stuff.
And there's no more
we'll cover it at some point. We'll do one of the virtual town halls. I think that's just one of his speeches, but the get-togethers that he has with multiple people, he's actually doing that. Whereas Trump is just sitting on the toilet making phone calls and calling them rallies. You should definitely, yes, I'll do some. That's a great idea, Can't Stop Lying. We'll do for the Saturday show for the happy endings. I'll do a piece of those roundtables or whatever. I'll put together a clip reel. Russell says for someone who doesn't like the president, you keep on every word he says. You have to understand, I love the presidency. I love my country. I just think the jackhole who's running it, that you would crawl through broken glass to sniff his farts, is doing a terrible job. And since we have to keep up on what he's saying because he is our president and has an outsized amount of power, I feel it's my responsibility to go line by line on all this bullshit. And so go look up the VA Choice Act and print it out and wipe your ass with it, because you don't care about our vets and you would rather support Trump than actually give a shit. So yeah, there you go. Other than that, I have no opinion. You guys are wonderful. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. Don't forget, vote.org. Make sure you're registered, even if you hate me. Register. And make sure you know where your polling place is. Make sure you have the ability to go. If you're going to go and you're going to stand in line, you're planning on doing that, make sure you have masks and gloves. You'll be good. By that time, there should be enough therapeutics and stuff in place where you can vote in person. But if you're really worried about it, or you're immunocompromised, you know anybody who has those issues, go ahead and get your mail-in ballot for that particular time. But again, I don't care if you like me or you hate what I say about the president, or you are a liberal or a Republican or any of that. I want you to vote. And I don't want you to die of COVID-19. You asshole. I would rather argue with you than watch you pass away. So grow up. Stop sniffing Trump's farts for a living. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. You guys are wonderful.
Once it was reluctantly aroused. It was hard to get it aroused, and it is hard to get it aroused, but we got it aroused. We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Karen. You'll have nobody guarding your potatoes. And you know, when you say per capita, there's many per capitas. It's like per capita relative to what?
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
To be a moron, to be moronical, an imbecile.
Groovy.
Let me put it this way, Mr. Raymer. The 9000 series is the most reliable computer ever made. No 9000 computer has ever made a mistake or distorted information. We are all, by any practical definition of the words, foolproof and incapable of error.
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said,
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
The sportos, the motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
I got news for you, pal. You ain't leading but two things right now. Jack and shit. And Jack left town.
Something strange happened to me this morning.
Was it a dream where you see yourself standing in sort of sun god robes on a pyramid with 1,000 naked women screaming and throwing little pickles at you?
No.
Why am I the only person that has that dream?
Well, it's a well-known fact, Sonny Jim, that there's a secret society of the 5 wealthiest people in the world, known as the Pentaverate, who run everything in the world, including the newspapers, and meet tri-annually at a secret country mansion in Colorado known as the Meadows.
So who's in this Pentaverate?
The Queen, the Vatican, the Gettys, the Rothschilds, and Colonel Sanders before he went tits up.
Feel like a Kentucky Fried Idiot.
shift, Jackie?
No, no, son, thank you very much. No, it gives me the wind, something terrible.
Oh.
Sorry, I farted.
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines.
Diet Coke!
Groovy.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Fetch your back to there. Concentrate. You look like a back.
Where's the stone? Where is the stone? Where is the stone?
Michael, where is the stone? Why don't you just sit there and bleed a while before you taste some real pain?
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Feed them to the pigs, Errol.
Easy, real nice. If I didn't have puke breath, I'd kiss you.
You see allowed to do that?
It's an unlicensed boxing match, Tom. Not a tickling competition. These lads...
Welcome to the real world.
Get us a cup of tea, would you, Errol? Go and put the kettle on.
Groovy.
Soon we will leave this lame planet and fly through outer space with cool aliens who like us. It is going to be awesome! Zoltan!
You bet your bollocks to a barn dance you're not backing out.
To be a moron. To be moronical. An imbecile.
Now fuck off.
I'm rich and I'm dead sexy.
Call me Snake.
I'm telling you straight. It's my way or the highway. So anybody wants to walk, do it now.
You take sugar?
No, thank you, Turkish. I'm sweet enough.
Groovy.
All I'm offering is the truth.
Call me Snake.
It's good to be the king.
Hail to the king, baby.
I'm a land farmer, motherfucker.
Do you like a dogfight, Turkish?
I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
Wow, wow, wee, wow.
We've got entirely too many troublemakers here.
Dear, what's your bad? How you saw it? Hey, look. Help as much as I'm gonna hit. You still got a car. I suggest you use it for you're not welcome anymore. I think you should fuck off now, but you still got the legs to carry you. Nobody brings a fella the size of you unless they're trying to say something they're talking, right, bye? She wants a heck of 2 roof lights, the stainless glass frame furniture, and the scatter cushions with the matching shag covering. Yeah. Right. It's a terrible parcel to the Periwinkle Blue bags. Have I made myself clear, bags?
Yeah, that's perfectly clear, Mickey, yeah.